Chapter 38:41. Seeing this scene, Snow White Queen and the others gradually felt their hearts sink. If the Divine King of Primal Chaos really wanted to attack Qin Feiyang and the others, what should they do? They all had a good impression of Qin Feiyang, and were also grateful to him. But who would dare to disobey the orders of the Divine King of Primal Chaos? The end of the bloodthirsty demon Theta Wong, and the others was a bloody lesson. Qin Feiyang and the others didn't know about the Netherworld, but they knew too well that it was a place that would make anyone despair. The Divine King of Primal Chaos kept looking at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang felt his scalp tingle. But suddenly, the Divine King of Primal Chaos shook his head and couldn't help but laugh. "Look at how nervous you are. Did I say anything to you?" Phew. It wasn't just Qin Feiyang. Everyone present couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. They were really scared out of their wits. The Divine King of Primal Chaos continued. "But you can avoid death. But you can't escape punishment." Huh. Qin Feiyang looked at the Divine King of Primal Chaos. Why was there a but? The Divine King of Primal Chaos said, "Give me the pill formula for the undead bottleneck breaking pill." Pill formula? Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Don't you want to help the undead in the Skybell Divine Treasure? Without the pill formula, how can I help you? Don't tell me you're just saying it." The Divine King of Primal Chaos rolled his eyes. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly to hide his embarrassment. If the undead see you like this, how disappointed would they be? Because they sincerely treat you as a good person and are grateful to you and respect you. The Divine King of Primal Chaos looked down on him. No. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand. After pondering for a moment, he looked at the Divine King of Chaos and said, "I can give you the recipe, but you have to promise me that you won't give it to anyone else." The Divine King of Chaos was slightly taken aback. He was speechless. "Then you should just hand it over to the Nine-Tailed Queen. She's an alchemist." "Are you an alchemist?" Qin Feiyang looked at the Nine-Tailed Queen in surprise. "Is it strange that I'm an alchemist?" The Nine-Tailed Queen stared at Qin Feiyang with her bewitching eyes. "Not at all, not at all." Qin Feiyang hurriedly avoided the Nine-Tailed Queen's eyes. She was simply a demoness, her charm was everywhere. However, from this point, it could be seen that the chaotic Divine King did not have any selfish motives when he asked for the pill formula of the undead bottleneck breaking pill. Otherwise, he would not have asked him to give it to the Nine-Tailed Queen. Then again, an existence like the Divine King of Chaos could get anything he wanted, so why would he covet a mere pill formula? It seemed like he really had to change his paranoia. Wait a moment. Qin Feiyang looked at the Divine King of Chaos and smiled. He then took out a piece of paper and ink from his universe ring, turned around and laid it on the ground, recording the pill formula in detail. Subsequently, he took the pill formula and walked to the Nine-Tailed Queen. The Nine-Tailed Queen took the pill formula and looked at it. Her bright eyes suddenly had a trace of playfulness. She looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Didn't you announce to the public that the undead bottleneck breaking pill needs hundreds of medicinal herbs?" Qin Feiyang laughed dryly. "What a little liar, but I like it." The Nine-Tailed Queen pouted coquettishly. Her charming eyes were like silk and her words were full of temptation. Qin Feiyang broke out in cold sweat. He really did not dare to stay with this woman. He hurriedly turned around and ran to the Divine King of Chaos. "Look at you, as if I will eat you." The Nine-Tailed Queen was dissatisfied. Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly. He was really depressed. Was this woman a human or a demon? Why did she have such a great charm? He was quite confident in his own ability. But in front of this woman, he could not help but feel restless. If they were alone together, something would definitely happen. Therefore, it was better to stay away from this woman. Damn it. Little Qin Zi, this guy actually has good luck with women again? The white-eyed wolf muttered. "Are you jealous?" Princess Huafeng asked. "I am." The white-eyed wolf nodded instinctively. But as soon as he finished speaking, he realized that something was wrong. As expected, a hand reached over and pulled his ear hard. "My wife, please spare my life. Little Qin Zi, come and help me. The tigress is angry again." The white-eyed wolf hurriedly called for help. "Tigress?" Princess Huafeng's face darkened. She tightened her grip and said angrily, "Say it again for me." I was wrong. I won't do it again. My wife, please let go." So many people are watching. Save me some face. The white-eyed wolf said with a fawning look. The divine king of chaos and the 5 demon kings could not help but look at this scene in astonishment. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched. He looked at the divine king of chaos and said, "They are like this. You'll get used to it." The divine king of chaos shook his head and laughed. Suddenly, he raised his arm and poked Qin Feiyang's forehead with his fingertip. Qin Feiyang was shocked. The white-eyed wolf and the others were also shocked. They thought that the divine king of chaos was going to do something to Qin Feiyang. But in the end, when the divine king of chaos's fingertip fell between Qin Feiyang's eyebrows, a divine light poured into Qin Feiyang's mind and formed a mark, which was branded in the depths of Qin Feiyang's divine soul. Qin Feiyang was surprised and carefully felt it. This was because he could sense a huge amount of information from this mark. Soon, he showed an excited look on his face. This mark was actually all the insights of the divine king of chaos on the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death. This was definitely a great opportunity for Qin Feiyang. Because of these insights, he would be able to take fewer detours in the future. In short, the primal chaos deity king had given him all of his insights without reservation. Of course, this kind of gift would not make the divine king of chaos lose his insights into the ultimate meaning. It was just that time was too tight and he could not explain it to Qin Feiyang personally. Therefore, he used this method to brand his insights into the ultimate meaning deep in Qin Feiyang's divine soul. After Qin Feiyang went out, he could slowly comprehend it on his own. "Thank you, Senior." Qin Feiyang bowed. How could he repay this kindness in the future? The divine king of chaos waved his hand and said, "Don't worry about it. Just take it as an exchange for your pill formula." Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Perhaps in the eyes of the undead, the pill formula of the undead barrier-breaking pill was better than everything, but in his eyes the pill formula was not as valuable as this insight. "What's going on? You gave me a fright," the white-eyed wolf whispered. He thought the divine king of chaos was going to turn hostile. In the end, little Qin Zi seemed to have gained something. But what was it? What made little Qin Zi so excited? "Okay." The divine king of chaos smiled faintly and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others. "I won't see you off personally. Take care." After saying that, he took the sovereign divine weapon of bloodthirsty demon Theta Wong and entered the hall without looking back. With a rumble, the door slowly closed. "Oh Qin, what happened just now?" The madman was suspicious. Qin Feiyang looked at the hall with gratitude in his eyes. After a long time, he withdrew his gaze and looked at the madman. He shook his head and said, "Nothing." "Still keeping us in suspense?" The madman's face darkened. "Keeping us in suspense and pretending to be mysterious. Isn't that what you and the white-eyed wolf are good at?" Qin Feiyang looked at him mockingly. The madman was speechless. "Wait." Suddenly, the blood ancestor frowned. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang and the madman hurriedly looked at the blood ancestor. The interspatial rings of bloodthirsty demon king and the other two seemed to have been shattered along with their bodies. Then, wouldn't the undead bottleneck-breaking elixir we gave them have also been shattered? The blood ancestor frowned. "Yes." The madman nodded and asked suspiciously, "Is there a problem?" The blood ancestor asked, "Without the undead barrier-breaking pill, will we be killed by the blood oath? So that's what you're worried about." "No, the blood oath we made was to give them the undead barrier-breaking pill. We didn't say that we would help them get rid of their undead bodies. And now, I've indeed given them the undead barrier-breaking pill, so I've fulfilled my promise. It's their own fault for not protecting them. What does that have to do with us?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The blood ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. He didn't want any accidents to happen at the last minute. But then again, the 3 demon kings were really pitiful. Not only did they fail to get rid of their undead bodies, but they were also sent to the Netherland and even lost their sovereign divine weapons. It could be said that they suffered a double loss. Yun Xiang looked at the stone door behind the white-eyed wolf and the others and asked suspiciously, "Why hasn't the exit opened yet?" "I don't know. It's always been like this." The white-eyed wolf shook his head. The blood ancestor said, "It will only open when everyone is here." "It will only open when everyone is here?" Everyone was slightly taken aback and quickly scanned the people around them. Apart from those who are already dead, it seems that only Qi Xiaoyun and the white-bearded old man haven't arrived yet. What are they doing? The madman frowned and looked at the surrounding mountains and rivers. Weren't they already heading for the exit? Looks like they're further away from the exit than we are. Li Feng shook his head. That can't be right. I even specifically asked for their location back then. They're closer than we are. The white-eyed wolf raised his brow. Closer than we are? Li Feng was stunned. Since they were closer than they were, why weren't they here yet? Strange. The white-eyed wolf muttered and urged. Hurry up and contact them. Ask them how long it will take them. But right at this moment, accompanied by the sound of something tearing through the air, a sovereign divine weapon carried two people into the mountain range at lightning speed. The sovereign divine weapon was the Qilin sword. The two people were Qi Xiaoyun and the white-bearded old man. But at this moment, both of them had different degrees of injuries on their bodies. The Qilin sword was also somewhat damaged. What's wrong with you two? Everyone looked at the two suspiciously. Sorry, something happened along the way, said Qi Xiaoyun with an apologetic smile. Qi Xiaoyun smiled apologetically. When he saw the primal chaos royal city and the 5 devil kings, his pupils shrunk. When he saw Qin Feiyang and the others standing on the city walls, it was obvious who they were. They were actually personally escorting them. They were truly giving them face. Everyone looked at the two suspiciously. What kind of accident could cause them to be so heavily injured? But everyone here was tactful. Since Qi Xiaoyun did not want to talk about it, they naturally did not press him. Subsequently, everyone's gaze landed on the stone gate at the peak of the mountain. Since everyone was here, it was time to open it. End of this chapter. Chapter 3842. Boom. Sure enough, as soon as Yun Xiang and Snow White arrived, the stone door slowly opened with a loud sound, revealing a dark passage. The stone door is open, the blood oath is gone. Let's go. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and a group of people flew out of the Chaos Royal City and landed in front of White-Eyed Wolf and the others. Li Zhongxing and the other two looked at the Sky Bell Divine Treasure with a trace of nostalgia in their eyes. After all, they were born here, and they were going to leave now, so they must be sad and reluctant. Qin Feiyang looked at Hun Dun and the 5 Demon Kings, cupped his hands and said, Thank you seniors for your care during this period of time. Take care. Take care. Snow White Queen and the others smiled. Phew. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, turned around and looked at the passage inside the stone door. He waved his hand and said, From now on, be prepared to fight at any time. Let's go. As his voice fell, the group stepped into the stone door one after another and disappeared into the passage. Boom. As the last person entered the passage, the stone door quickly closed. When Li Zhongxing and the other two entered the stone door did not reject them. Obviously, they could leave the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. After this farewell, I don't know if we will have the chance to meet again. Dark Queen sighed. I'm afraid we will never have this chance again. However, the undead of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure will never forget them, and their deeds will be passed down here. Snow White Queen smiled faintly. The other Demon Kings also nodded. Sky Cloud Island. After more than 100 years, there was almost no change here. The vast sea, the clear blue sky, and the Sky Bell hovering above Sky Cloud Island. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. However, if one observed carefully, they would find that the sea was quieter than before. Clang! Suddenly, the Sky Bell buzzed and a space-time crack appeared. Whoosh! The moment the space-time crack appeared, a group of people rushed out. It was Qin Feiyang and the others. Returning to Sky Cloud Island again, looking at the familiar scene in front of them, everyone felt as if a lifetime had passed. But soon, they calmed down and immediately looked at Sky Cloud Island. Nothing changed. Sky Cloud Island was still the same Sky Cloud Island as before, but the little rabbit was nowhere to be seen. What happened? Madman frowned. If the Divine Kingdom had really descended, it wouldn't have been so peaceful. Big brother. Qin Feiyang shouted while looking at Sky Cloud Island. However, after half a year there was still no movement. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other, and an uneasy premonition arose in their hearts. At this moment, The heaven bell behind him buzzed and gradually disappeared. Qin Feiyang and company turned to look at the sky bell. Even though it had only been over 100 years, they had left behind too many memories in the sky bell divine trove. If he had the chance, he would definitely go there again. He then looked at Li Zhongxing and the other two. His eyes were filled with amazement as he scanned the world that was full of vitality and vitality. This was a completely different world from the Heavenly Bell Divine Treasure. Now that he looked at it this way, the Heavenly Bell Divine Treasure was more like a backward civilization. Wang! Suddenly, a strand of divine sense emerged and rushed towards Sky Cloud Island. The owner of this divine sense was Long Chun. On Sky Cloud Island, there was no trace of the little rabbit. This little rabbit rarely leaves Sky Cloud Island. Why is there no trace of it now? The white-eyed wolf muttered. Long Chun raised his head and looked in the direction of the Een Demon Land. He frowned slightly and retracted his divine sense. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Brother Qin, I'll return to the dragon nest first." The white-eyed wolf hurriedly said, "Don't go yet. Give us the inheritance of the law of slaughter." Long Chun was slightly taken aback. Looking at the white-eyed wolf, he smiled and said, "I thought you guys had already forgotten and were preparing to take it all for yourself." "Forgotten? Not bad, young man, you're naive enough." The white-eyed wolf sneered. What a joke. This was an inheritance, who could forget it? Long Chun shook his head and smiled. He took out an inheritance and handed it to the white-eyed wolf. This was what they had agreed on beforehand. If they could really extort 2 more inheritances from the hands of the 3 demon kings, then both sides would have one each. Qi Xiaoyun looked at the inheritance in the white-eyed wolf's hands with a trace of envy in his eyes. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Then let's return to the Qilin sacred land first." The Azure Dragon also looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "We'll also return to the Burial Godland first." "I'll also return to the Phoenix Nest first." Princess Huafeng also looked at the white-eyed wolf and said, "Inform us immediately if anything happens." Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf nodded and instructed. This was too strange. Sky Cloud Island was so quiet that it made one's hair stand on end. Then, everyone opened the space-time teleportation channel and quickly left. Soon, only Qin Feiyang, Madman, the White-Eyed Wolf, the Blood Ancestor, Li Feng, Li Zhongxing, and the Sea Lion Emperor were left. "Let's go back and take a look." The Sea Lion Emperor glanced at the Sky Cloud Island and said to Qin Feiyang and the other two, "All right." Qin Feiyang nodded. As the Sea Lion Emperor and the others left, Qin Feiyang brought the Blood Ancestor and the others into the Black Tortoise realm. 100 years had passed in the outside world, but almost 200 million years had passed in the Black Tortoise realm. Although the current Black Tortoise realm hadn't changed much, it was much larger than before. Qin Feiyang stood in the sky above the Devil's Land and released his perception. Soon, he was pleasantly surprised to find that the current Black Tortoise realm had surpassed the ancient realm. In other words, it was bigger than the ancient realm. This is. Li Zhongxing and the other two were surprised. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "This is the world I own, the Black Tortoise realm. There really is an independent world?" As soon as he said this, not only Li Zhongxing and the other two, but the Silver Moon Divine Sword, Golden Sun Divine Sword, Cauldron of All Creation, Void Mirror, Green Cauldron, Golden Bell, and Ancient Pagoda all flew out of Qin Feiyang's body. Strands of divine sense spread out in all directions as they stared at this miraculous land in amazement. Clang! The ancient castle also appeared and landed in its original position. Qin Feiyang didn't pay attention to them. With a wave of his hand, Pei Hongyu and Pei Dason appeared in front of him. "Young master?" The siblings were stunned at first. Then they were overjoyed. Qin Feiyang asked, "Have there been any changes in the Black Tortoise realm over the years?" "Everything is as usual, nothing has changed." The siblings shook their heads. "What about the central continent?" Qin Feiyang asked. "The central continent is fine. Although many juniors have been born in the Yun family over the years, some of them are unruly and would occasionally cause trouble, but they were all stopped by Yun Guanghui," Pei Dason said. "Juniors?" Madman was stunned. After all, almost 200 million years have passed in the Black Tortoise realm. Not to mention the Yun family with a large population, even our Pei family has already produced dozens of generations. Pei Dason smiled. "Dozens of generations?" In that case, you and your sister are already at the level of ancestors. Madman was stunned. You can say that. The siblings nodded. Yes, yes, what do you mean by that? Then, in the past dozens of generations of your Pei family, have any monsters been born? Madman was curious. In front of others I can brag about it, but in front of you guys it's better not to mention it. After all, no matter how monstrous a person is, they can't be compared to you guys. Pei Dason smiled. That's true, Lin Feng said. Madman laughed. You guys are finally back. This time, Little Wimp descended from the sky. What? Don't say that you missed us. The white-eyed wolf looked at Little Wimp. Missed you guys? Don't flatter yourself. Little Wimp rolled his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang. The god-slaying tablet has already awakened, waiting for you guys to come back and take it out to pass the tribulation. What? It has already successfully evolved. The white-eyed wolf was pleasantly surprised. Little Wimp nodded and explained. In fact, it has already successfully evolved long ago. But in the Skybell Divine Treasure, it can't go out to pass the tribulation, so it has been delayed until now. What about the Sunset Bow and the rest? Qin Feiyang asked. They are still a little lacking. In short, make the arrangements and help it pass the tribulation. Little Wimp said. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. He didn't expect to receive such good news as soon as he returned. However, the next problem was, how should he keep the god-slaying tablet? If the god-slaying tablet successfully passed the tribulation and ran back to Princess Huafeng, then wouldn't they have wasted so much time and origin energy? No need to think so much. With my current relationship with Sister Feng, what's hers is also mine. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other speechlessly. Right. Where is the law of light inheritance that I asked you to leave for me? Qin Feiyang looked at the white-eyed wolf and asked. It's here. The white-eyed wolf waved his hand and a sealed iron box appeared. When the seal was unlocked and the iron box was opened, the law of light inheritance immediately appeared. The madman rolled his eyes and chuckled. Old Qin, since you have obtained the law of light inheritance, then shouldn't the law of slaughter inheritance belong to me? Qin Feiyang was stunned. The madman raised his eyebrows slightly and said angrily, Didn't you already obtain the law of lightning inheritance? Also, where is the surprise you said you would give me? Qin Feiyang and the madman smiled at each other, and took out the law of time inheritance that the blood ancestor gave to the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Qin Feiyang said, This is a gift from the ancestor. You have to thank him properly. The white-eyed wolf immediately looked at the blood ancestor and squeezed out a few tears. He hugged the blood ancestor and cried, Thank you, ancestor. I knew you were a good person. The blood ancestor's mouth twitched. Didn't you say you wanted to kill me before? The white-eyed wolf's expression froze and he laughed dryly. Back in the ancient world and the Nether King's hell, it was because I didn't know your identity. The blood ancestor shook his head and laughed. He looked at the law of time inheritance and sighed. I didn't just give you an inheritance but also a responsibility. Don't let me down. Don't worry, I won't. The ingrate patted his chest and vowed solemnly. Then, he grabbed the inheritance of the law of space and time and left behind the inheritance of the law of slaughter. Without turning his head, he said, Before I integrate the inheritance, no one is to disturb me. Then he went into the castle and began to fuse with the inheritance in seclusion. The madman stared at the inheritance of the law of slaughter, his eyes glowing with a green light. Take it. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. What? The madman looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Why was he so generous? Chapter 3843. When have I ever been stingy? Qin Feiyang glared at the madman with dissatisfaction and snorted. Didn't I give you the law of thunder inheritance back then? The madman grinned and grabbed the law of slaughter inheritance. Without looking back, he ran into the castle and went into seclusion. Li Feng glanced at the ancient castle and said with a frown, Big brother Qin, your generosity is a little too much. Compared to the madman, he was naturally more inclined to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang put away the law of light inheritance and smiled. We're all brothers. There's no need to fight over it. Besides, I've already comprehended the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death. The ultimate meaning of the law of life and death was enough to compete with the ultimate meaning of the strongest law. As for the ultimate meaning of ordinary laws like the law of slaughter, it would definitely crush them like crushing dry weeds. However, it wasn't because he looked down on the ultimate meaning of the law of slaughter. After all, even if it wasn't as good as the law of life and death, it was still a powerful method. The reason why he gave it to the madman was because he was considering the future battle with the divine kingdom. The madman had already grasped the ultimate meaning of the law of thunder and the law of space and time. Coupled with the ultimate meaning of the law of slaughter, the madman would naturally have more power to protect himself when facing the experts of the divine kingdom. Li Feng said, "In any case, people like you who always think of their friends are almost extinct in this world." The blood ancestor smiled. "Isn't that why you worship him so much?" Hearing this, Li Feng scratched his head and smiled. "You don't need to worship me. You can do it too. Because I always believe that only if you give your heart first, others will use their heart to repay you. And you're not weak now. The law of space and time and the law of slaughter have both reached the ultimate meaning. In the future, do more for the human race. Just treat it as helping me." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "I will." Li Feng nodded. Looking at Li Feng's attitude, Qin Feiyang's face revealed a sincere smile. No matter what Li Feng did in the past, as long as he vowed to protect the human race in the future, he could ignore it. Wang. Suddenly, the image crystal began to ring. "That's a voice I haven't heard in a long time." Qin Feiyang took out the divine sound transmission stone and shook his head as he looked at the blood ancestor and Li Feng. In the Sky Bell divine treasure, the divine sound transmission stone's voice could never be heard. However, when he checked, he frowned slightly. "What is it?" The blood ancestor was suspicious. "It's Princess Huafeng," Qin Feiyang said. The blood ancestor was slightly taken aback. "Didn't she just return to the phoenix nest? Why did you send us a message?" Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and activated the divine sound transmission stone. Princess Huafeng's figure immediately appeared, and she seemed to be very anxious. "What is it?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Princess Huafeng said in a panic, "My phoenix nest doesn't even have a single clansman." "What?" Qin Feiyang and the other two were bewildered. "How is this possible?" Princess Huafeng said in a deep voice, "Not only clansmen, but even a spirit vein and spirit vein are not seen. How could this be?" Qin Feiyang's eyes darkened. There was not a single person from the Feng people. This was too strange. It was impossible for them to disappear from the world. He asked, "Are there any traces of battle?" "No." Princess Huafeng shook her head. Qin Feiyang said, "Don't worry. If there are no traces of battle, then there should be no danger. Go to the other forbidden areas immediately and inform Longchan and the others. I will also go to the 4 continents to take a look." "Okay." Princess Huafeng nodded and immediately disappeared. Qin Feiyang put away the divine sound transmission stone and looked at the blood ancestor and Li Feng. "It seems that something really happened in the sky cloud realm. Then let's split up. Li Feng, you go to the northern continent. Feiyang, you go to the eastern continent. This ancestor will personally go to the western continent. Then we will meet in the southern continent," the blood ancestor said. Qin Feiyang and Li Feng nodded. "Young master, do you need our help?" Pei Daisen and his sister hurriedly asked. They were in the Black Tortoise realm, so they naturally followed Qin Feiyang to the Sky Bell divine treasure, so they knew nothing about the current situation in the Sky Cloud realm. Moreover, the people of the Phoenix Nest had all disappeared. There was no need to think about it. Something big must have happened. "No need, just help me manage the Black Tortoise realm." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and was about to leave with the blood ancestor and Li Feng, but suddenly patted his head and said, "Flame magic sword, come out." The fragment of the flame magic sword appeared. After all these years, although there was no source land, the body had been repaired a little. "Brat, come out for a moment." Qin Feiyang looked at the sky again. Swish! Brat descended from the sky. "It's an intermediate dominator divine weapon. Take it to the source land and repair its body." Qin Feiyang pointed at the fragment of the flame magic sword and said, "The flame magic sword would definitely be of great use in the future." Not to mention the mysterious divine kingdom, just in Longchan, probably only the flame magic sword could compete with the heavenly god sword. And us? The golden sun divine sword roared excitedly. Brat looked at the flame magic sword, then looked at the golden sun divine sword and the other dominator divine weapons. He actually obtained so many dominator divine weapons. It seemed that this kid had earned a lot from this trip to the Skybell divine treasure. But soon after, Little Wimp frowned. If so many dominator divine weapons went to the source land to cultivate, how would the Black Tortoise realm grow in the future? The growth of the Black Tortoise realm also required a large amount of source energy. Moreover, there were already many heaven-defying divine weapons in the source land that were transforming. Take care of the flame magic sword first. Qin Feiyong glanced at the golden sun divine sword and the other dominator divine weapons, then looked at Brat and said, "Why? We followed you through life and death in the Skybell divine treasure. And what did it do for you?" The golden sun divine sword was dissatisfied. "Why? Of course it's because this sovereign is stronger than you." The flame magic sword smiled proudly. At the same time it was extremely shocked. This kid actually had an independent world. Qin Feiyong rubbed his forehead and comforted, "Don't be anxious. When it's time for all of you to enter the land of origin, this little brat will let all of you in. Also, all of you have to have a proper attitude because entering the land of origin isn't up to me. It's up to this little brat." Brat? The golden sun divine sword and the other dominator divine weapons looked at Brat who was standing in the sky. "I'll leave it to you." Qin Feiyong directly threw this mess aside and said to Brat. Then, he brought the blood ancestor and Li Feng and descended on the sky above Sky Cloud Island. Because if they were to tangle with these dominator divine weapons, there would definitely be no end to it. The blood ancestor glanced around and looked at a certain place in the mountains of Sky Cloud Island and said, "You guys wait here, this ancestor will go to the little rabbit's cave to take a look." Qin Feiyong and Li Feng nodded. The blood ancestor immediately streaked across the sky and disappeared into Sky Cloud Island below. Qin Feiyong glanced at the surrounding sea area and vaguely felt that something was wrong. "What are you looking at?" Li Feng was suspicious. Qin Feiyong was silent. But suddenly, his eyes trembled. Yes, it was too quiet. Except for the sound of the waves and the wind, there was no other sound. Wasn't this strange? One had to know that this was the Sky Cloud Sea and there were countless sea beasts. Usually, the roar of sea beasts could be heard at any time in this area. But now there was no movement at all. At this moment, he released his divine sense and flooded the surrounding sea area. Soon, his eyes sank slightly. "What's wrong?" Li Feng was surprised. "How could this be? Not even a single sea beast." Qin Feiyong murmured. His face was full of disbelief. "What?" Hearing this, Li Feng immediately released his divine sense to search the surrounding sea beasts. Within the range of his divine sense, he really didn't find a single sea beast. The phoenix nest was empty. The sea beasts of the Sky Cloud Sea were also gone. Why was this? Where did they all go? Whoosh! At this time the blood ancestor flew up with a gloomy face. "Is there any?" Qin Feiyong hurriedly asked. Because the mermaid princess and the others were now in the little rabbit's cave residence. "No. Even the cave residence is gone, leaving only an empty cave," the blood ancestor said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyong's face changed. Li Feng said, "We also found a problem. The sea beasts of the Sky Cloud Sea are also gone." "No way." The blood ancestor was shocked and hurriedly released his divine sense. When he saw the empty sea area with his own eyes, his expression became dull on the spot. Whoosh! This time, several figures landed in the void in front of them. Qin Feiyong and the others looked over. It turned out to be the Sea Lion Emperor and a group of Beast Emperors. At this moment, the Beast Emperors' faces were full of anxiety. The blood ancestor frowned and said, "You didn't find any sea beasts? You also found it?" The Sea Lion Emperor said, "Yes." Qin Feiyong and the others nodded. One of the Beast Emperors said in a deep voice, "We have searched the entire Sky Cloud Sea, not to mention sea beasts, not even a shadow, not even a spirit vein and crystal vein. It's not just the Sky Cloud Sea. The phoenix nest that Princess Huafeng gave us just now is also empty." The blood ancestor said, "The phoenix nest is also empty?" The Sea Lion Emperor and the others looked at each other with a face full of surprise. What the hell is going on? Don't panic, let's go to the few continents first. After Qin Feiyong said, he asked Li Feng to open a few space-time passages. We will go too. The Sea Lion Emperor said. Okay. Qin Feiyong nodded and stepped into the space-time passage to the eastern continent. The Sea Lion Emperor and another Beast Emperor followed Qin Feiyong. A majestic mountain was located somewhere in the eastern continent. The mountains were stacked on top of each other, and majestic halls could be seen everywhere on the peaks. This was the eastern continent's sacred ground, the demonic palace. The demonic palace, which originally had countless disciples and was bustling with noise, was dead silent at this moment. When Qin Feiyong and the others arrived above the demonic palace, their hearts sank when they saw this scene, because they couldn't sense a single person's aura in the demonic palace. Another Beast Emperor released his divine sense and covered the entire demonic palace. He said in a deep voice, "It's the same as our situation. Not only are there no people, but even the spirit vein, crystal vein, and medicinal herbs are gone." This Beast Emperor was a muscular man. He was 8 feet tall and looked quite fierce. At this moment, his eyes were filled with hostility. "Old bull, don't worry. At least for now, we haven't seen any traces of battle," the Sea Lion Emperor comforted. Qin Feiyong looked at the two before lowering his head to look at the demonic palace. Although he looked calm on the surface, he was actually panicking in his heart. Chapter 38-44. The Phoenix Nest, the Heavenly Cloud Sea, and the Devil Palace were all empty. What did this mean? It meant that the same thing might be happening in other places. One had to know. Just the sea beasts in the Heavenly Cloud Sea couldn't be estimated with numbers, let alone the living beings of the 4 continents. So many living beings had disappeared without leaving a trace. It was as if they had suddenly disappeared into thin air. Such a strange thing made one's scalp go numb. "Seniors, please go to the 4 cities again." Qin Feiyong looked at the Sea Lion King and said, "Okay." The two nodded. They could clearly feel that Qin Feiyong was currently brewing a monstrous rage in his heart. Following the departure of Emperor Sea Lion and Emperor Sea Lion, Qin Feiyong's voice transmission Godstone resounded once more. When he took out the stone, several figures appeared. They were Tan Wu, Fire Qilin, Hell Godhound, Qi Shaoyan, and the white-bearded old man. "Brother Qin, something bad has happened." When Tan Wu saw Qin Feiyong, he immediately spoke. Qin Feiyong's heart sank, and he asked, "Have all the people of the Qilin Holy Land disappeared? How do you know?" This time it was Tan Wu and the others who were surprised. The people of the Phoenix Nest, the sea beasts of the Heavenly Cloud Sea, and the people of the Devil Palace, they have all disappeared. "I am the Devil Palace now." Qin Feiyong turned the voice transmission stone and faced the Devil Palace below. Looking at the deserted and empty Devil Palace, the faces of the 5 sank. What was going on? Where did everyone go? So many living beings couldn't have disappeared for no reason. Qin Feiyong said, "I'm afraid only the Skybell knows about this. Unfortunately, it has already left." "Then what should we do now?" Fire Qilin asked. Qin Feiyong said, "You guys go directly to the southern continent. We will meet there later." "Okay." Tan Wu and the others nodded, and then the figures quickly disappeared. It seemed that the Dragon Nest, the Land of Buried Gods, the western continent, the northern continent, and the southern continent should also be empty. However, Qin Feiyong didn't believe that all the living beings on the continent would disappear without leaving behind any clues. He released his divine sense and enveloped the demonic palace, carefully searching every corner. He didn't know about the others, but he knew Elder Hua very well. If there was really an emergency, Elder Hua would definitely leave some clues for him. However, finally, a hint of disappointment appeared on his face. After searching the entire demonic palace, he didn't find anything like a letter. Whoosh! The Sea Lion King and the Sea Lion King returned with a heavy expression. They shook their heads and said, "No one, not even a single beast. Damn it! What the hell is going on?" Qin Feiyong clenched his fists and suppressed the anger in his heart. Finally, he could not hold it in any longer and exploded. Sea Lion King and Sea Lion King looked at each other and clenched their fists tightly. Southern continent. The Blood Ancestor, Li Feng, and the other beast emperors entered the southern continent one after another. Finally, everyone gathered in the sky above the temple. Everyone's expression was incomparably heavy. When Qin Feiyang brought the Sea Lion King and the Sea Lion King to the sky above the temple, the Blood Ancestor and the others immediately went up to greet them. Looking at each other's expressions, needless to say, they already knew that all the living beings on the 4 continents had disappeared. Tan Wu and the others also came one after another. In the end, Long Chan also contacted Qin Feiyang and the others and came to the sky above the temple. Sure enough, it was as expected. The people of the dragon's nest also seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. The dragons and their daughter also disappeared with the dragons. After being with Long Chan for so long, this was the first time Qin Feiyang saw Long Chan in such a state. His entire person was in a state of complete confusion. Could be seen. He was so worried about Long Zun and his daughter. But thinking about it, Long Chen's family in this world, other than the ice dragon, were only Long Zun and his daughter. Now that the mother and daughter were both missing, and there were no clues at all, how could he not be anxious? Tan Wu suddenly looked at Long Chan and asked, "Can you find your father and ask him to help find them? I can't contact him at all." Long Chan shook his head. Everyone looked at each other, and there was a trace of sympathy on their faces. As a son, he was actually unable to contact his biological father. This was a kind of sorrow even if he said it out loud. The Blood Ancestor looked at everyone's panicked and uneasy appearance and said in a deep voice, "I know that you are all very anxious now, and this ancestor is actually the same, but at this time we can't panic, we must stay calm." Qin Feiyang and Long Chan looked at the Blood Ancestor. "Especially the two of you. You must keep a calm mind at all times and give advice to everyone." The Blood Ancestor looked at Qin Feiyang and said. The two took a deep breath, trying to calm the anxiety in their hearts, and lowered their heads to ponder. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang looked down at the temple and frowned. "Even the spirit vein, crystal vein, and medicinal herbs are not left. This seems to be a bit like a transfer." "A transfer?" Everyone was stunned. That's right. They should have transferred ahead of time. Should be. If they really encountered danger, they couldn't have cleaned it up so cleanly. Long Chan nodded and looked up at the sky, his eyes flickering. Was it because of the Divine Kingdom? Because only the arrival of the Divine Kingdom would bring such a big crisis to the Sky Cloud Realm. The sovereign divine weapon of the Sky Cloud Realm was taken to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure by us. So facing the powerhouses of the Divine Kingdom, the Feather Emperor, Dragon King, Feng Ho, the Qilin Master, and the Little Rabbit have no confidence. Therefore, in the face of the arrival of the Divine Kingdom, they decisively moved. But where can they hide in the forbidden areas of the Sky Cloud Realm, the 4 continents, and the Sky Cloud Ocean? Seems that there is none. Could it be suddenly? Qin Feiyang turned his head and looked in the direction of the Sky Cloud Ocean. Yes. Nether King Hell. Long Chan said word by word. Nether King Hell. The eyes of Emperor Sea Lion and the others suddenly trembled. Yes. If they want to avoid the powerhouses of the Divine Kingdom, they can only retreat to the Nether King Hell. Long Chan nodded. Impossible. If they really retreat to the Nether King Hell, then the powerhouses of the Divine Kingdom can also kill their way to the Nether King Hell. In this way, not only will they not be able to escape, but even the creatures of the Nether King Hell will be affected. Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Qilin Master, I dare not say, but based on my understanding of the Feather Emperor, he will definitely not take this risk. The Blood Ancestor shook his head. Long Chan said in a deep voice, "But now the only place they can go is the Nether King Hell. If they really go to the Nether King Hell, then I'm afraid that the first, second, and even the ancient world and Great Qin will be in danger." Tan Wu looked at Qin Feiyang and said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. That's right. Great Qin and the entrance to the ancient world were both in the divine ruin. Moreover, he still remembered that the Blood Ancestor had said that the Blood Demon King had died in battle because he went to intercept the powerhouses of the Divine Kingdom going to the Nether King Hell. If the powerhouses of the Divine Kingdom really came, then they must be in the Nether King Hell now. If that was really the case, then as Tan Wu said, the first, second, ancient world and even Great Qin were really in danger. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang immediately looked at Li Feng and shouted, "Hurry up and return to Sky Cloud Island." Needless to say, Great Qin was his home, his roots. He would not allow anyone to harm Great Qin, not even a blade of grass or a tree. The ancient world could be considered his second home. He had countless old friends. For example, Yizhong, Shangguanqiu, the Beast Emperor Hui, and so on. If something really happened, he would suffer for the rest of his life. Buzz. However, just as Li Feng opened the space-time tunnel, Qin Feiyang's divine voice transmission stone sounded again. Qin Feiyang was about to step into the space-time tunnel when he heard the sound of the divine voice transmission stone. He frowned slightly and immediately took it out. Two figures appeared. It was Princess Huafeng and Daifuku again. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang asked. Princess Huafeng said, "Hurry up and come to the entrance of the land of the buried gods." "Why are we going to the entrance of the land of the buried gods?" Qin Feiyang was bewildered. Long Chen and the others also looked at Princess Huafeng and Daifuku in confusion. "I just arrived here, but as soon as I arrived I sensed an intense battle. I think Yun Xiang and the others are fighting with someone," Princess Huafeng said in a deep voice. "Fighting?" Qin Feiyang and the others' eyes trembled. "Hurry up," Princess Huafeng urged and turned off the divine voice transmission stone. She looked up at the core area of the land of the buried gods, her eyes filled with worry. Above the temple, Li Feng looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Qin Dage, what now?" Thousands of thoughts flashed through Qin Feiyang's mind in an instant. He looked at Long Chen and said, "I'll go to the land of the buried gods to take a look. You take everyone to hell. I'll leave everything to you." "Don't worry." Long Chen nodded. This was the first time they had worked together in the truest sense. As for the cooperation in the Skybell Divine Treasure, it was purely for fun. However, although it was their first real cooperation, there was an unconditional trust between them. They were very steady and reliable. Li Feng said, "Qin Dage, I'll go with you. I control the laws of space and time, so it's more convenient. This ancestor will also go to the land of the buried gods." The blood ancestor's eyes were overflowing with blood. If Yun Xiang and the others were really fighting with someone, then this person was most likely an expert from the Divine Kingdom. He had never had a good impression of the Divine Kingdom. "All right." Qin Feiyang nodded. Li Feng immediately opened another space-time tunnel. "No matter what you encounter, don't be impulsive," Emperor Sea Lion warned. "I know." Qin Feiyang nodded and turned around to lead Li Feng and the blood ancestor into the space-time tunnel. "Let's go too. This time, I sincerely hope that everyone can put aside their previous grudges and face this catastrophe together." After Long Chen finished speaking, he also stepped into the space-time tunnel. Emperor Sea Lion and the others looked at each other and followed. The entrance to the land of the buried gods. Although less than 5 breaths had passed, Princess Huafeng and Daifuku were already impatient. Swish! Finally, Qin Feiyang and the other two arrived. "Where are the others?" The two immediately ran in front of the three. "They went to hell." Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at the land of the buried gods. Rumble. Sure enough, he could faintly feel a terrifying aura. But because it was too far away, he couldn't clearly determine who was fighting. "To hell?" Princess Huafeng and the other two were slightly stunned and said in surprise, "Why did they go to hell?" After spending so much time with Qin Feiyang and the others, the two had long known about the existence of hell. To confirm some of our guesses, don't worry about them. Let's quickly enter the core area. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. Now, is the princess of the Divine Kingdom still here? Chapter 3845. Back then it was the Dragon King Feng Ho, the Kirin Lord, and all the Dominator divine weapons of the 3 races that joined forces to seal the princess of the Divine Kingdom. One had to know. The dragons, Feng people, and the Kirin clan had a total of 30 Dominator divine weapons. In other words, to break this seal, one had to be stronger than the Dragon King and the other 230 Dominator divine weapons. And obviously, the Feather Emperor didn't have this ability. As for the Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Kirin Lord, although they had participated in sealing the princess of the Divine Kingdom, without the 30 Dominator divine weapons, they didn't have the ability to break the seal. So if there was no accident, the princess of the Divine Kingdom might still be sealed in the core area. The reason why he said this was because if the Divine Kingdom really came and saw that the princess of the Divine Kingdom was sealed here, they should help her break the seal. In fact, this time Qin Feiyang planned to break the seal when he returned from the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, and let the princess of the Divine Kingdom regain her freedom. After all, the princess of the Divine Kingdom was his ancestor. But he didn't expect that so many things would happen this time. But don't think that the princess of the Divine Kingdom would be safe when she returned to the Divine Kingdom. One had to know. The marriage of the princess of the Divine Kingdom with the human emperor was tantamount to betraying the Divine Kingdom. He believed that no one would tolerate a traitor. So, Qin Feiyang still hoped that the princess of the Divine Kingdom was still sealed in the core area, because only if he went to rescue her, the princess of the Divine Kingdom would be truly out of danger. Seeing Qin Feiyang fly into the land of buried gods, the blood ancestor was stunned. He hurriedly stepped forward to stop him and asked, "You're just going to fly in like this?" The land of buried gods was so big. If he wanted to rush to the core area like this, wouldn't he have to wait for a long time? Otherwise, Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The land of buried gods had rules and restrictions, so he couldn't teleport. He could only fly in. Looks like you're a little too anxious. Didn't I tell you before that after mastering the ultimate profundity of an ultimate law, we can ignore the rules here? The blood ancestor shook his head. Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. He patted his head and looked at Li Feng. Li Feng understood and opened a teleportation channel. The five of them immediately rushed into the passage. The central region. Somewhere, two figures were engaged in a bloody battle. One of them was Yun Xiang. Yun Xiang's current strength was also quite impressive. Not only did he master the ultimate meaning of the law of death, but he also had his own sovereign divine weapon, the Yin-Yang mirror. His opponent was a red-haired old man. Although this person looked old, his aura was extremely vigorous. Around him, a terrifying destruction law swept out in all directions. Not far away, the masked Azura, Azure Dragon, the yellow-robed old man, the black-robed man, and the others were all covered in wounds and blood. Their faces were filled with weakness. Obviously, they were seriously injured. The entire central region had been destroyed. Fortunately, there wasn't a single living being in the land of the buried gods. Otherwise, it would definitely be a scene of misery and suffering. Whoosh! At the edge of the core region, as a space-time passage appeared, 5 figures walked out one after another. It was Qin Feiyang and the others. As soon as Qin Feiyang came out, he looked around. When he saw the core region, he was shocked. The entire core region was shrouded in a destructive aura. All kinds of law power surged, forming terrifying thunderbolts and storms that swept out in all directions. This is the core region. The blood ancestor sighed. The core region, Qin Feiyang murmured. Although he had been to the land of the buried gods, this was the first time he saw the core region with his own eyes. He never expected such a scene. The blood ancestor scanned the core region and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He smiled and said, "The law power is still there, which means the seal still exists." The law power is the seal? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Yes. The blood ancestor nodded. Qin Feiyang clenched his hands. Even at this moment, in front of the thunderbolts and storms formed by the law power, he couldn't help but feel a fatal crisis. And the princess of the Divine Kingdom was sealed here. How much suffering and pain would she have to suffer? Dragon King Fengho, the Qilin Master. Sooner or later, he would settle the score with you. At the same time, a sense of intimacy that blood was thicker than water arose spontaneously. This was the summoning of the bloodline power. "Child, you're here." Suddenly, a gentle and kind voice sounded in the core region. "Ancestor." Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. "Sister-in-law." The blood ancestor's body trembled and he couldn't help but shout, "Boss, you're back too." The voice sounded again with a trace of joy. "Boss." Li Feng looked at the blood ancestor in shock. "I'm older than the human emperor and the feather emperor, so they all call me boss or big brother," the blood ancestor explained, his voice a little choked. Looking at the core region, he said, "Sister-in-law, don't worry, we'll help you unlock the seal later. You don't know, but this descendant of yours and second brother is really outstanding. He now has the ability to help you unlock the seal." The so-called second brother was naturally the human emperor. "I know he's outstanding. because I've always been paying attention to him. The princess of the divine kingdom smiled with relief. Paying attention to me, Qin Feiyang whispered. Yes. A long time ago, the little rabbit had already told me that our descendant had come to the sky cloud realm. So at that time, I asked Xiang to go to the eastern continent to find you, understand you and take care of you. The princess of the divine kingdom explained. So that's the case. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. To be honest, when I learned from the little rabbit that your bloodline power had awakened, I was very happy, but at the same time I was very worried. The princess of the divine kingdom sighed. Although she had been talking, he still couldn't see her. Worried? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Yes. Although the purple gold dragon blood will bring you extraordinary talent, it will also bring you endless trouble at the same time. The Lord of the Divine Kingdom, who is my father, doesn't allow humans to have the purple gold dragon blood, because in his view, it's a humiliation to the purple gold divine dragon clan. Therefore, I sincerely hope that you didn't awaken the purple gold dragon blood and didn't come to the sky cloud realm, so that you won't be implicated by us. The princess of the divine kingdom sighed. Humans having the purple gold dragon blood is a humiliation to the purple gold divine dragon clan? What kind of preposterous words are these? Qin Feiyang coldly snorted. But that's the truth. The princess of the divine kingdom sighed. Wait. You just said the purple gold divine dragon clan. Could it be that there are many of them in the divine kingdom? Li Feng was surprised. Yes. The purple gold divine dragon is the ruler of the divine kingdom, and the strength of the divine kingdom is far beyond your imagination. The experts that came from the divine kingdom last time were just the tip of the iceberg, the princess of the divine kingdom said. Qin Feiyang and the others' hearts sank when they heard this. Let's not talk about this for now. The seal doesn't matter. Go and save Xiang and the others first. They are in great danger now. The princess of the divine kingdom's tone was full of worry. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and turned to look at the central region, where they could clearly sense the fluctuations of the battle. But just as Qin Feiyang was about to rush to the battlefield, Daifuku's exclamation sounded, "Look, what is that?" Qin Feiyang and the others hurriedly looked at Daifuku and saw that Daifuku was looking at the sky above the central region, his eyes full of shock. Qin Feiyang and the others also hurriedly looked up and saw that at the top of the sky, there was a gate that was 1,000 feet tall. This gate seemed to be made of purple gold divine iron, and radiated a dazzling purple gold divine light. There was also a vivid purple gold divine dragon engraved on the door, emitting a terrifying dragon's aura. And although the gate was open, it was pitch black inside, making it impossible to see anything. That's the gate of the divine kingdom. The blood ancestor's pupils constricted. The gate of the divine kingdom. Qin Feiyang and the others trembled. Was the divine kingdom behind this gate? Strange. Last time the gate of the divine kingdom appeared above Skycloud Island. Why is it above the central region of the land of buried gods this time? The blood ancestor frowned. It's because of me. The voice of the princess of the divine kingdom sounded again. You? Qin Feiyang looked at the central region. Yes. The gate of the divine kingdom can sense the power of my bloodline. After using the guidance of the power of my bloodline, it directly came here. The princess of the divine kingdom said. Then when did the gate of the divine kingdom appear? Qin Feiyang asked. 7 years ago. The princess of the divine kingdom said. As expected. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. It was at this time that the Sky Bell told them to leave the Sky Bell divine treasury. Seemed like it was as they guessed. It was the Feather Emperor and the others who begged the Sky Bell to let them leave the Sky Bell divine treasury in advance. I know you have a lot of questions in your hearts, but now I don't have time to explain. Quickly go and help Xiang and the others. The princess of the divine kingdom urged. Okay. We'll go right away. Qin Feiyang nodded. He did have a lot of questions in his heart. For example, where were the Feather Emperor and the others? How many people from the divine kingdom came? Did the Lord of the divine kingdom come personally? However, seeing that the princess of the divine kingdom was so anxious, Yun Xiang and the others must be facing an extraordinary opponent. Therefore, no matter how many questions they had to solve the problem in front of them first. Whoosh! The 5 of them turned and rushed to the battlefield at lightning speed. The battlefield was not far away. In less than a minute, they saw Azure Dragon and the others. Feiyang, why are you here? Seeing that Qin Feiyang and the others had rushed over, Azure Dragon and the others were slightly stunned. Why didn't you inform us that such a big thing has happened? Qin Feiyang frowned. Isn't there still Xiang? He should be able to solve it. Besides, you must be investigating outside. Therefore, we didn't want to cause you trouble. Azure Dragon smiled apologetically. We have already encountered the experts of the Divine Kingdom. How can you say that we are causing trouble? This time, Qin Feiyang was really a little angry. Before leaving, he had said that he would inform everyone immediately if anything happened. However, these people had no news at all. If not for Princess Huafeng and Daifuku, who came to the land of buried gods and discovered it in time and informed them, they would have already entered the Hell of the Nether King. When they entered the Hell of the Nether King, even if Yun Xiang died here, no one would know. Chapter 3846. And he even said that Yun Xiang could deal with it? Wasn't he being too confident? Although Yun Xiang's current strength was indeed very strong, it had to be known that if even the Divine Kingdom's princess was so worried, then how could the Divine Kingdom's powerhouse fighting Yun Xiang be an ordinary person? Looking at Qin Feiyang's angry face, the Azure Dragon's apologetic expression became even more intense. He couldn't blame Qin Feiyang for not respecting them. Qin Feiyang was so angry because he was worried about their safety. Then, Qin Feiyang looked up at the battlefield in the sky. The battle was extremely intense. Both Yun Xiang and the red-haired old man had activated their ultimate profound meanings and were madly clashing. Looking at it this way, the two of them were really evenly matched. What's going on? If the red-haired old man is only this strong, why would the princess of the Divine Kingdom be so worried? Qin Feiyang frowned, turned to the Blood Ancestor, and asked, Ancestor, do you know him? No, I don't. When the Divine Kingdom descended last time, he didn't appear. The Blood Ancestor shook his head. Didn't appear, Qin Feiyang murmured, turned to the Azure Dragon, and asked, Senior, when you returned to the land of buried gods, where did you meet this person? At the edge of the core area. At that time, he was talking with the princess of the Divine Kingdom. The Azure Dragon said. Talking about what? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The situation at that time was like this. When we returned to the land of buried gods, we found that the entire land of buried gods was devoid of life. The Azure Dragon was immersed in his memories, while paying attention to the battlefield. What's going on? Our land of buried gods is too quiet. In the central area, Yun Xiang and the Master Jura looked down at the mountains and rivers below, their faces full of astonishment. It is indeed a little different from before. The Azure Dragon and the others nodded, their faces full of suspicion. Lord Feather Emperor! Yun Xiang shouted. However, there was no response for a long time. Feather Emperor isn't here? Could it be that the Divine Kingdom has really descended and the Feather Emperor has already met with misfortune? Azure Dragon's brows furrowed tightly. Suddenly, he quivered and shouted, Hurry up and look around. All right. The group of people scattered in all directions. But he didn't find anything. In the entire land of the buried gods, there wasn't even a single flying insect. Yun Xiang frowned. He suddenly looked at the Master Jura and said in a deep voice, Quickly go to the core area and see if Master is still there. Master! The Master Jura's eyes trembled. The two of them immediately rushed towards the core area. Azure Dragon and the others looked at each other and hurriedly caught up. They were extremely nervous. Yun Xiang gazed at the core area and murmured, Master, please be all right. Very soon, they saw the core area. Seeing that the lightning and storm in the core area were still there, the two of them breathed a sigh of relief. As long as the lightning and storm were still there, the seal would still be there. If the seal was still there, Master would definitely be fine. However, in the next moment, they all felt a terrifying aura and raised their heads to look at the sky above the core area. They didn't know if they didn't look, but when they looked they were shocked. In the sky above the core area, there was a purple gold gate floating. This is Azure Dragon and the group of reclusive old antiques' eyes suddenly trembled. What's wrong? Yun Xiang and the Master Jura were surprised. This is the gate of the Divine Kingdom. The middle-aged man in black exclaimed, "The gate of the divine kingdom?" Yun Xiang and the master de jure were stunned. In other words, it's the passage to the divine kingdom. The appearance of the gate of the divine kingdom means that the divine kingdom has descended. Azure Dragon said word by word. There was a trace of fear on his face. "Look, there's a person over there." Suddenly, the yellow-robed old man pointed at the edge of the core area. "Is it Lord Feather Emperor?" Everyone retracted their gazes and looked at the place where the yellow-robed old man pointed. They saw a mountain peak of about 100 feet. On the peak of the mountain stood a red-haired old man. However, they could only see the back of the red-haired old man and could not see his face. However, they could already tell that this person was not Lord Feather. "Be careful. This person's aura is very strong. He is not weaker than Lord Feather Emperor. He might be an expert from the Divine Kingdom," Azure Dragon said in a low voice. The group immediately restrained their aura and approached the mountain peak. At the same time, the red-haired old man standing on the peak of the mountain seemed to have sensed something. He glanced at the mountains behind him and then looked at the core area. There was a trace of contempt in his eyes. He said indifferently, "Are you protecting these ants? In front of you they are ants. But in front of me, they are my companions, my family." The voice of the princess of the divine kingdom sounded. "Companions, family. Shouldn't your companions, your family, be citizens of the divine kingdom? As the princess of the divine kingdom, you did not protect them. Instead, you came to protect ants from an inferior civilization. Are you worthy of your parents who raised you? Are you worthy of all the citizens of the divine kingdom who look up to you?" The red-haired old man chuckled. His tone was calm, but his eyebrows were full of hostility. The princess of the divine kingdom said angrily, "There is no superior civilization or inferior civilization in this world. Everyone is equal." "Equal? What a naive idea. Let me ask you one last time. Do you want to return to the divine kingdom with me? Your father said that as long as you repent and turn over a new leaf, we will help you break the seal and let you return to the divine kingdom. At that time, you will still be the high and mighty princess of the divine kingdom." The red-haired old man said indifferently, "I have never made a mistake. What is there to repent about? You should persuade Lord Father not to come to the Sky Cloud realm to kill the innocent." The princess of the divine kingdom did not even hesitate and gave the red-haired old man this answer. Stubborn. The red-haired old man's killing intent rose. The princess of the divine kingdom saw that the situation was not good and shouted, "Azure Dragon Zing, don't come over. Run." Yun Xiang and the others were shocked. Run. Facing the divine kingdom, who can escape? The red-haired old man smiled disdainfully and turned to look at Azure Dragon and the others. A terrifying divine power roared out and rolled toward the group like a tide. How were we discovered? Yun Xiang and the others were surprised. They had already restrained their aura, but they were still discovered by the other party? Moreover, listening to Master's tone, this was a strong enemy. Before they could react, the terrifying divine might surged over. Everyone let out a muffled groan as they were sent flying. In just an instant, blood flowed out of their bodies. You should be the people who went to the Skybell Divine Treasure to train, right? I didn't expect you to come back early. You are just ants. In the end, you are just ants. No matter how much fortune and opportunity you are given, you won't be able to make any waves. The red-haired old man's face was full of contempt. You know about the Skybell Divine Treasure? Yun Xiang stabilized his body and was surprised. Isn't the Skybell floating above Skycloud Island? Is it strange that I know about it? The red-haired old man sneered and turned to look at the core area. Your Highness, I am about to kill them. Are you sure you don't want to think about it? If you swear now to cut all ties with them, I may let them live for a few more days. That kind of overbearing attitude made Yun Xiang and the others fly into a rage. The princess of the divine kingdom ignored him and shouted, Xing, you are not his opponent. Run. Sigh. You really want to force me to make a move. The red-haired old man sighed and looked back at Yun Xiang and the others. The law of destruction rolled out. What are you so arrogant for? Yun Xiang couldn't bear it anymore. With a roar, the law of death roared out and the ultimate profound, the 18 layers of hell instantly appeared. The red-haired old man was stunned. At such a young age, he had mastered the ultimate profound of the law of death? Interesting. Boom. As he waved his hand, the ultimate profound of the law of destruction, the heavenly eye of destruction, also appeared. The two ultimate profound collided crazily. A destructive aura instantly spread out with the two of them as the center. This scene surprised the princess of the divine kingdom. It seemed that this disciple had obtained a lot of opportunities in the Sky Bell divine treasure. However, she was still worried. At the same time, Azure Dragon and the others also quickly retreated. Elder Azure, is this the inheritance that the divine king of chaos gave to junior brother? The Master Jura looked at Azure Dragon and asked. Yes. Azure Dragon nodded. I really envy junior brother. Following Qin Feiyang will lead a good life. As for me, although I have also obtained a law of sword, it is not worth mentioning compared to the law of death. The Master Jura shook his head. Azure Dragon looked at Yunxiang worriedly and said, Don't be envious. I have also prepared an ultimate law inheritance for you. Really? The Master Jura was surprised. Azure Dragon took out the inheritance of the law of devour and handed it to the Master Jura. This? The Master Jura looked dazed. This is a gift from the divine king of chaos to me. However, I did not fuse with it and specially left it for you. Azure Dragon explained. How can this be? Hearing this, the Master Jura quickly waved his hand and said, I can't accept it. Since I'm giving it to you, just accept it. Why are you being so pretentious with me? Azure Dragon rolled his eyes at him in annoyance. Just accept it. You and Xiang are still young. These ultimate law inheritances can only be of greater value if they are given to you. The black-clothed middle-aged man next to him said. Hearing this, the Master Jura turned to look at the black-clothed middle-aged man and the others. The group nodded and smiled. Thank you. The Master Jura was touched. He stretched out his trembling hands and received the inheritance. His hands were trembling, not because he was excited to receive this inheritance, but because he knew that receiving this inheritance was equivalent to taking over the heavy responsibility of protecting the human race. However, he did not regret it, because even without this inheritance, he would still inherit the will of these old men in front of him and protect everyone in the Sky Cloud realm. Boom! The battle continued. After Azure Dragon finished his narration, he turned to look at Qin Feiyang and sighed. This is the situation. After listening to the whole story, Qin Feiyang's heart could not calm down for a long time. Even if the red-haired old man wanted to break the seal, the princess of the divine kingdom did not hesitate and still chose to stand on the side of the Sky Cloud realm. This greatness was not something that ordinary people could compare to. Even the princess of the divine kingdom, an outsider, could be so responsible and open-minded. Then, as a member of the Sky Cloud realm, what did he have to worry about? Yes, there was no need to think so much. There was no need to be bound by the bloodline power. Follow the will of his heart. And his will was to protect the human race and the Sky Cloud realm. Chapter 3847. Li Feng looked up at the red-haired old man in the sky and said disdainfully, even after so long, he still can't take down Yun Xiang. It seems that this person's strength is not that great. When Qin Feiyang heard this, he turned his head to look at Li Feng. Not only was he not nervous at all, but he also looked eager to try. Then, he looked at Princess Huafeng and Daifuku again. There seemed to be a trace of disdain between the two of them. It seemed that this trip to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure had not only harvested a large number of divine items, but also broadened everyone's horizons. The strength that the red-haired old man had shown was actually not weak. The ultimate meaning of the law of destruction. In the past, no one present would be able to remain calm, because only existences at the level of the Dragon King could master the ultimate meaning of the strongest law. But in these 100 years, everyone had seen too many powerful existences in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. For example, the undead that had condensed a body had at least mastered one ultimate meaning. Then there were the terrifying Great Demon Kings and their sovereign divine weapons. Any one of them had the strength to sweep across the Sky Cloud realm. Not to mention the Chaos Divine King and the Chaos Royal City. In their eyes, the sovereign divine weapons were like ants. These were the so-called experiences. With these experiences, everyone's mentality and mental endurance had far surpassed before. Facing the powerhouses of the divine kingdom, they naturally would not be as afraid as before. However, was the strength of this red-haired old man really only like this? The princess of the divine kingdom knew that Yun Xiang had mastered the ultimate meaning of the law of death, and that Azure Dragon and the others had sovereign divine weapons, but she was still so worried. What did this mean? It meant that the princess of the divine kingdom knew the strength of the red-haired old man. She knew that Yun Xiang and the others were not a match for the red-haired old man. Moreover, how could the strength of someone who could represent the Lord of the divine kingdom to persuade the princess of the divine kingdom be limited to just this? Oh! Boom! High up in the sky, the ultimate meaning of the two collided once again, showing a scene of heaven and earth shattering. The more Yun Xiang fought, the more courageous he became. His power of death swept through the world like angry waves. The young generation of the Sky Cloud realm has given birth to a monstrous genius like you. Not bad. The red-haired old man nodded with a smile as if he was praising him. When Yun Xiang heard this, he glanced at Qin Feiyong below, then looked at the red-haired old man and coldly snorted. The strength of my Sky Cloud realm is not something you can imagine. If you know what's good for you, then immediately scram back to the divine kingdom. The red-haired old man smiled. She smiled brightly. Seeing this smile, Qin Feiyong had a bad premonition. At the same time, Yun Xiang also raised his eyebrows slightly. Because he was facing the red-haired old man directly, the feeling in his heart was the most obvious. At this moment, the red-haired old man was like an awakening demon god. Just his gaze alone brought him an uncontrollable fear. In the end, he's still too young and doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The red-haired old man's eyes suddenly turned cold. A gust of death force rolled out like a tide. What? Yun Xiang's face changed abruptly. Could it be that this old man also mastered the ultimate meaning of the law of death? Rumble. Accompanied by an earth-shaking loud noise, the 18 layers of hell instantly appeared above the red-haired old man's head, exuding a heaven-destroying and earth-shattering divine power. At the same time, the ultimate meaning of the law of destruction also reappeared. Two ultimate meanings. Yun Xiang's face turned pale. This is the strength of the divine kingdom's powerhouses? Sure enough, it's not ordinary. Like I said, ants will always be ants. Even if I give you a chance, you won't be able to stir up any waves. The red-haired old man's words were full of disdain. With a wave of his hand, the two ultimate meanings of the law of death immediately rushed toward Yun Xiang with the power to destroy the world. Who are you looking down on? Yun Xiang roared and activated the ultimate meaning of the law of death. Boom! Following closely, the yin-yang mirror appeared and instantly recovered. Although the yin-yang mirror wasn't a mid-level dominator divine weapon, it was enough to confront the ultimate meaning. Let me tell you, my Sky Cloud realm isn't something you can trample at will. Yun Xiang roared in anger. The 18 layers of hell and the yin-yang mirror crazily attacked. Rumble. The three ultimate meanings and the yin-yang mirror collided with each other. The world immediately fell into darkness, but this darkness didn't last long. Soon, a dazzling divine light erupted. The three ultimate meanings shattered at the same time. The yin-yang mirror was also blasted away and smashed into a mountain below, instantly destroying a large part of the mountain. There's also a dominator divine weapon? The red-haired old man was slightly taken aback. Sizing up Yun Xiang, he said indifferently, "It seems that you should be the most monstrous genius of the Sky Cloud realm's younger generation." Me? The most monstrous genius? Yun Xiang was stunned. He couldn't help but glance at Qin Feiyong below from the corner of his eyes. The corner of his mouth faintly had a trace of self-mockery. How could he be considered a monstrous genius? The real monstrous genius was the one below. Your Highness, I didn't expect you to cultivate such a talent in the Sky Cloud realm. In time, he will definitely become the pillar of the Sky Cloud realm. However, his luck doesn't seem to be too good to meet me. He is destined to die in the cradle. The red-haired old man turned his head to look at the core area and said with a smile, "You dare." The voice of the Divine Kingdom's princess came. Your Highness, no matter what, this old man can be considered as half your master. With your understanding of this old man, how can you doubt this old man's means? The red-haired old man chuckled. What? Half a master? Qin Feiyang and the others' eyes trembled. They never thought that the red-haired old man's background would be so great. Who was the Divine Kingdom's princess? She was the daughter of the Divine Kingdom's master. Although he was only half a master, it was enough to prove the red-haired old man's status in the Divine Kingdom. Azure Dragon and the others finally became nervous. If it was just an ordinary powerhouse of the Divine Kingdom with their current strength, they naturally didn't have to worry too much. However, as half a master of the Divine Kingdom's princess, it was obvious that his strength wasn't as simple as it seemed. Boom! Sure enough. Accompanied by a shocking divine power, a terrifying space-time power surged out of the red-haired old man's body. Space-time law. Yun Xiang's eyes trembled. Destruction law, death law, space-time law. This person actually mastered the ultimate meaning of the three strongest laws. Even the great demon kings of the Skybell divine treasure seemed to be no more than this. Everything you have was given to you by the princess. Now, on behalf of Her Highness, I take back everything. You don't have any objections, right? The red-haired old man looked at Yun Xiang arrogantly. As an invader, he actually put on a high and mighty attitude. Not only Yun Xiang, but even Qin Feiyang was very unhappy. On behalf of Master? Old man, what right do you have to represent Master? Who do you think you are? Yun Xiang was furious. He grabbed the yin-yang mirror and opened the 18 levels of hell. With monstrous anger, he crazily attacked. Junior with no manners, you deserve to die. The red-haired old man's eyes turned cold. The three ultimate meanings appeared one after another. The heavenly eye of destruction was like an eye of the heavenly Tao suspended at the top of the sky. Rays of destructive divine light flooded all directions. The 18 levels of hell surged with divine power and shook the heavens. The ultimate profundity of the space-time laws summoned a vast galaxy. Countless stars twinkled as if it was a bright starry sky. The appearance of the three ultimate meanings of the three strongest laws caused the entire central region to tremble. Mountains and rivers collapsed one after another. The earth shattered and the void was annihilated. It was simply a scene of doomsday. However, Yun Xiang wasn't afraid at all. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he roared, "Against an old man like you, I don't need manners at all." Boom! His entire body collided with the three ultimate meanings like a moth darting into a flame. The destructive aura surged in all directions like angry waves. Clang! The Fire Phoenix sword appeared with surging divine power. It protected Princess Huafeng, Qin Feiyang and the others. A group of people stared at Yun Xiang in the center of the battlefield. He didn't retreat in the face of such a terrifying expert. This courage was really admirable. However, the difference in strength couldn't be made up for by courage alone. Poof! Yun Xiang spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body was like a blood-stained meteorite, as he slammed into the ground with the yin-yang mirror. Accompanied by billowing dust and smoke, a deep pit that was thousands of miles long appeared. Yun Xiang lay at the bottom of the deep pit with blood all over his body. His aura was extremely weak. Even the body of the yin-yang mirror was cracked. Destroy! The red-haired old man looked down from above. As he pointed his index finger in the air, the three ultimate meanings immediately swooped down and blasted toward Yun Xiang, who was deep in the ground. Save Xiang! Azure Dragon shouted. Clang! The black-robed middle-aged man waved his hand and a black dagger appeared. It looked like a demon from hell with a murderous aura. Seeing this, the yellow-robed old man and the others also unleashed terrifying auras. The next moment, another 7 sovereign divine weapons appeared, their godly auras soaring into the sky as they attacked the three ultimate profound meanings. Of these 8 sovereign divine weapons, 6 of them including the black dagger, Qin Feiyang had seen all of them before. When they had barged into the central region, these 6 sovereign divine weapons had appeared to stop them. As for the other 2, this was the first time he had seen them. Boom! As the 8 sovereign divine weapons attacked, the red-haired old man's 3 ultimate meanings were shattered on the spot. The red-haired old man raised his eyebrows and immediately looked at the 8 sovereign divine weapons with a cold light in his eyes. Run! You are no match for him. The anxious voice of the princess of the divine kingdom sounded again. What? Even the 8 sovereign weapons aren't a match for him? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Could it be that this old man had a mid-level sovereign divine weapon? However, Yunxiang didn't seem to hear the voice of the princess of the divine kingdom at all. He got up from the ground and his blood-stained face was filled with madness. Xiang, listen to me. Run. The princess of the divine kingdom shouted anxiously again. I won't go. Wherever Master is, I will be there. In the past, it has always been Master taking care of this disciple. Now, it is this disciple's turn to protect Master. Yunxiang shook his head, and his stubborn personality was revealed. He turned to the black dagger and the other divine weapons and roared, Seniors, help me kill the enemy. Chapter 38:48. Following this roar, the weakness on his face was swept away and was replaced by endless battle intent. Boom! The ultimate meaning of the law of death appeared again. Sigh. Each one is more troublesome than the last. The yin-yang mirror sighed. If it was any other time it would have fled. But now, didn't retreat. It suddenly came back to life and floated beside Yunxiang. Its terrifying aura shook the sky. The 8 sovereign divine weapons, including the black dagger, flew behind Yunxiang and locked onto the red-haired old man in the sky with divine might. Kill! Yunxiang roared. He took the lead and charged toward the red-haired old man. The yin-yang mirror, the black dagger, and the other sovereign divine weapons followed closely behind. 9 sovereign divine weapons and Xiang should be enough to defeat him. Azure Dragon murmured. Qin Feiyong also stared at the red-haired old man. The red-haired old man looked at Yunxiang and the 9 sovereign divine weapons and said coldly, It seems that I have underestimated you. But that's all. Clang! As soon as he finished speaking, the red-haired old man waved his hand and a thunderbolt rolled out, lighting up the sky. Everyone was surprised. Suddenly, Qin Feiyong stared at the thunder and his pupils shrank. Inside the thunder, there was a purple gold battle axe. It flashed with lightning and was engraved with thunder patterns, exuding an unparalleled power. Let me show you what a real sovereign divine weapon is. Thunder battle axe. Crush them for me, the red-haired old man ordered. The thunder battle axe shattered the sky and charged toward Yunxiang and the 9 sovereign divine weapons. That's a mid-level sovereign divine weapon. Yunxiang retreat. The blood ancestor shouted. Yunxiang's eyes trembled slightly. He didn't expect the other party to have a mid-level sovereign divine weapon. They had stayed in the Chaos Royal City for so long and naturally knew the power of a mid-level sovereign divine weapon. It was something that required 10 low-level sovereign divine weapons to contend with. However, Yunxiang didn't retreat. Mid-level sovereign divine weapon. What are you afraid of? With our current strength we can definitely compete with it. Following his furious roar, the 18 layers of hell and the 9 divine weapons of the yin and yang mirror collided with the lightning axe. Boom! Heaven and earth, the sun and moon. A shockwave that was powerful enough to destroy everything rolled out in all directions. Even in the face of a middle-class dominator weapon, this child actually has the courage to fight. The Divine Kingdom princess watched this scene from afar, her heart filled with shock. Just what had he experienced in the Heavenly Bell Divine Treasure all these years? High in the sky, the 18 levels of hell and the 9 sovereign divine weapons clashed head-on with the lightning axe. And they were not at a disadvantage at all. This was enough to prove that the yin the divine weapon. If the yin-yang mirror and the other dominator divine weapons didn't go all out, they wouldn't be evenly matched. At the sight of this, the red-haired old man could not help but reveal a hint of viciousness between his brows as he activated the ultimate meaning of the 3 supreme laws. The blood ancestor raised his eyebrows. Originally, they were evenly matched. If the 3 ultimate intents attacked, the balance would be broken. Let me. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. Instantly, everyone looked at Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong's strength was obvious to all. Putting aside his own powerful techniques, his sovereign divine weapons were enough to crush the thunder battle axe. Qin Dage, don't make a move. Li Feng suddenly spoke. What? Qin Feiyong looked at him suspiciously. You're our trump card. How can we let you expose your strength so early? Li Feng chuckled. Qin Feiyong couldn't help but laugh. Li Feng took a deep breath, looked at Qin Feiyong and said, Leave it to me. I'm confident. Seeing Li Feng's serious attitude, Qin Feiyang muttered, "Be careful." Haha. Li Feng immediately laughed and took a step into the sky. The blood ancestor shook his head helplessly. This kid was starting to get arrogant, but he was looking forward to this kid's performance. The red-haired old man looked at Li Feng suspiciously. "What are you looking at? Yunxiang isn't the only genius in the sky cloud realm. Old bastard, let me see how capable you are today. How dare you be arrogant in the sky cloud realm?" Li Feng scolded mercilessly. The space-time law rolled over, and the ultimate intents were activated. What? The red-haired old man was very angry at Li Feng's rude words. But when he saw Li Feng activate the ultimate intents of the space-time law, his heart suddenly set off stormy waves. This person looked younger than Yun Xiang, but he had also mastered the ultimate intents of a supreme law. There were too many monstrous geniuses in the sky cloud realm these years. Boom! Li Feng waved his hand, and the ultimate intents of the space-time law immediately attacked the three ultimate intents of the red-haired old man. With a loud bang, Li Feng spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. The ultimate intents of the space-time law were directly shattered. Li Feng retreat. Yun Xiang saw this and shouted, "I'm not his opponent." Li Feng laughed cruelly as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes instantly turned blood red. Without turning his head, he said, "You just have to pin down Thunder Battleaxe. Watch how I kill him." Yun Xiang was slightly stunned. So domineering. He didn't know Li Feng's other means, but he knew that Li Feng had mastered the ultimate intents of the slaughter law and space-time law, so he was a little suspicious. "Old bastard, I'm starting to get serious." Li Feng stared at the red-haired old man. Blood surged all over his body, and in an instant 3 identical Li Fengs appeared beside him. This was Li Feng's trump card, the puppet true body. What could this be? Not to mention Yun Xiang, even Azure Dragon and the others couldn't help but be shocked. They quickly looked at Qin Feiyang. "Don't misunderstand. This isn't the 3,000 avatars." Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. "Not the 3,000 avatars? Could it be an avatar? How can a mere avatar turn the situation around?" Everyone couldn't help but frown. "If you think this is an avatar, then you're wrong." The blood ancestor laughed. When Azure Dragon and the others heard this, they couldn't help but look up at Li Feng and immediately saw a shocking scene. The 3 puppet true bodies beside Li Feng had also activated the ultimate intents of the space-time law. Isn't this just 3,000 avatars? In their memories, only Qin Feiyang's 3,000 avatars could do this. This scene shocked even Princess Huafeng and Daifuke. Although they had been with Qin Feiyang and the others for the longest time, Li Feng's puppet true bodies had only been activated when facing Bing Runing's sneak attack, so they didn't know. The red-haired old man. Looking at Li Feng's 3 puppet true bodies, he was also shocked. "Kill!" Li Feng roared. He had also activated the ultimate intents of the space-time law. Together with the 3 puppet true bodies, he now had 4 ultimate intents. The 4 ultimate intents, carrying the power to destroy the world, once again attacked the red-haired old man's 3 ultimate intents. There was a loud rumble. The scene of destruction was immediately presented before everyone's eyes. The red-haired old man's 3 ultimate intents were finally defeated and shattered on the spot. Then, the 4 rivers of stars formed by the 4 ultimate intents of the space-time law charged toward the red-haired old man. The ultimate intents of these 3 avatars are actually the same as his own? The red-haired old man's face was filled with disbelief. Avatars? Naive old man. Li Feng mocked him mercilessly. Boom! The 4 rivers of stars instantly drowned the red-haired old man. Yun Xiang, Azure Dragon, and the others were also dumbfounded. This was Li Feng's strength? Although they had known Li Feng for so long, their impression of him was that of an ordinary young man. His strongest technique was the secret technique that could devour the souls of the dead. It was also because of this secret technique that Li Feng could master the 2 ultimate intents of the space-time law and the slaughter law so quickly. In other words, they had never had any appreciation for Li Feng. They also did not think that he was very powerful, but they never expected that he actually had a technique like the 3,000 avatars. Just this technique alone was not something they could reach. As expected, anyone related to Qin Feiyang cannot be underestimated. Everyone sighed in their hearts. What kind of monsters were they? Then, They looked at the void that was drowned by the 4 rivers of stars. The starlight was dazzling and the red-haired old man's figure was nowhere to be seen. But they could clearly feel that the red-haired old man's powerful aura was rapidly dissipating. Facing the attack of the 4 ultimate intense head-on, even the red-haired old man would not be able to survive. However, just as they thought that the red-haired old man was definitely going to die, a terrifying divine aura suddenly erupted. The 4 rivers of stars were directly annihilated in the void. Li Feng was also sent flying on the spot. Whether it was him or the 3 true bodies of the puppets, they were all bleeding profusely. What? The group of people's expressions changed. This divine aura. Why did it seem like another mid-level dominator divine weapon? As the 4 rivers of stars were destroyed, the red-haired old man's figure gradually appeared. At this moment he looked a little battered. His face was full of blood and his hair was disheveled. Obviously, it was caused by Li Feng and the 3 true bodies of the puppets. However, at this moment, the red-haired old man had an additional purple gold armor on his body. Lightning surrounded it and his aura was shocking. It can't be. This? Qin Feiyang and the others were dumbfounded. It was actually a set of armor. And judging from the aura, it was a mid-level dominator divine weapon armor. Not only was there a mid-level dominator divine weapon thunder battle axe, but there was also an armor of the same level. It had both offense and defense. Wasn't this flawless? Terrifying. Although the red-haired old man was the first expert from the divine kingdom that they had seen so far, the terrifying means he had displayed were far beyond their imagination. It was no wonder that the princess of the divine kingdom was so anxious and kept telling them to run. If they had not made a trip to the Skybell divine treasure, they would have only been able to run for their lives. Chapter 3849. The red-haired old man looked at Li Feng, nodded and praised. "You are very powerful." Li Feng pouted. He was extremely unhappy. If it weren't for this armor, this old man would definitely have died on the spot. The red-haired old man glanced at Yun Xiang, then at Li Feng and smiled. "I thought he was the only monster in the Sky Cloud realm, but I didn't expect there to be 2 more. Unfortunately, they are not from the divine kingdom." "What kind of monster are we? The real monsters haven't made a move yet." Li Feng pouted. However, he didn't say this out loud. After all, the powerhouses of the divine kingdom hadn't appeared in large numbers yet. They had to hide some of their strength. The red-haired old man shook his head and sighed. "Since you are not from the divine kingdom, I can only send you to hell to prevent you from becoming a disaster for the divine kingdom in the future. You think so highly of us." Li Feng chuckled and his eyes turned cold. He said contemptuously, "But I don't think you have the ability to kill us." "Haha, then why don't you try and see if you can break through the defense of my thunder battle armor?" The red-haired old man laughed again. "You think you have the right to be arrogant in front of me just because you have some tricks?" It was ridiculous to the extreme. Boom! Before he finished speaking, he activated his 3 strongest laws and charged toward Li Feng. "Who is the arrogant one? This is the Sky Cloud realm, not the divine kingdom. Do you really think that you can sweep through our Sky Cloud realm with your strength alone? You think too highly of yourself." Princess Huafeng's eyes turned cold. "Fire Phoenix Divine Jade Phoenix Bell, go and help Li Feng kill that old man. Let him taste the price of being arrogant in the Sky Cloud realm." Clang! The Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, Fire Phoenix Saber, Fire Phoenix Spear, Fire Phoenix Divine Axe, Black Ice Divine Hammer, Black Ice Divine Bow, Black Sky Divine Sword, Black Sky Fan, Phoenix Bell, and Frost Sparrow Sword all charged out of Princess Huafeng's body. Demon Vanquishing Staff, Illusory Demon Orb, go too, the Blood Ancestor said, his eyes flashing with killing intent. As he spoke, the Illusory Demon Orb and the 2 Sovereign Divine Weapons also rushed out like lightning. The Fire Phoenix Sword didn't make a move and continued to protect everyone. However, even without the Flaming Phoenix Sword, there were still 12 Sovereign's Divine Weapons. The red-haired old man stared blankly at the 12 Dominator Divine Weapons charging at him. How could the divine weapons of the various forces of the Sky Cloud realm be in the hands of these juniors? Understood. The various forces of the Sky Cloud realm handed over their respective sovereign divine weapons to their juniors. This way, these juniors would be able to obtain even more fortunes in the Sky Bell divine treasure. Because of this, when the divine kingdom descended upon the Sky Cloud realm, the Sky Cloud realm didn't even have a sovereign weapon. Without a sovereign divine weapon, there was no way they could fight against the divine kingdom. Therefore, the various giants of the Sky Cloud realm fled the Sky Cloud realm with the living beings and resources of the Sky Cloud realm. So this was the reason why the people of the divine kingdom didn't see a single person when they came to the Sky Cloud realm. This old bastard should be in existence on the same level as the 10 great demon kings. Wrong. He's even stronger than the 10 great demon kings. After all, he has an armor. Haha, stronger than the 10 great demon kings? Wouldn't it be great if we could kill him? Brothers, let's kill him. Die, old bastard. The group of Dominator divine weapons, especially the illusory demon orb and the demon vanquishing staff from the Sky Bell divine treasure, seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. The Dominator divine weapons like the flaming phoenix and the godly jade were still somewhat fearful, because they had fought the divine kingdom in the past and knew how powerful the divine kingdom was. However, the illusory demon orb and the other Dominator divine weapons were different. No matter how strong the divine kingdom was, could it be stronger than the divine king of the primal chaos and the primal chaos royal city? Anyway, it was over. This scene made the red-haired old man unable to remain calm. He looked at the thunder battle axe and shouted, "Retreat first." "You want to retreat?" "No way." Yunxiang shouted coldly as he led the yin-yang mirror and the other Dominator divine weapons to entangle the thunder battle axe. Li Feng also led the 3 true bodies of the puppets and the illusory demon orb and the other Dominator divine weapons to attack the red-haired old man. The red-haired old man activated his 3 ultimate profound meanings, but it was meaningless as he was directly crushed. "With this little strength, you dare to come to our Sky Cloud realm and act like a tyrant? I really don't know who gave you the courage. Now go to hell and repent." Li Feng sneered. His own ultimate profound meanings, the 3 true bodies of the puppets, and the illusory demon orb and the other 12 Dominator divine weapons instantly drowned the red-haired old man. A miserable scream sounded. Although the red-haired old man's armor was a mid-level Dominator divine weapon, in the face of such a terrifying attack, cracks immediately appeared on it. The red-haired old man was even more miserable. His body was almost torn apart, and blood stained the sky. The masked Azura roared, "Kill him and leave the thunder battle axe and thunder battle armor." These were mid-level Dominator divine weapons. If they could forcefully subdue them, it would be a great thing for the Sky Cloud realm. Even if they couldn't subdue them, they had to destroy them. Because once these 2 Dominator divine weapons escaped back to the divine kingdom, they would definitely threaten them again in the future. In short, if they couldn't be subdued, then they had to be destroyed. Preposterous. I really didn't expect that you could actually force me to this point. You guys are quite capable. However, you want to kill me with trash like you? It's simply wishful thinking. The red-haired old man's face was ferocious, and his entire body was overflowing with hostility. Boom! The next moment, a sword light swept out from between his eyebrows. This world was instantly annihilated, turning into chaos. Its sharpness was simply unheard of. In an instant, everyone present, as well as all the Dominator divine weapons, felt a fatal threat. What is this? Before they could react, the sword light blasted towards the illusory demon orb and the other Dominator divine weapons. A group of Dominator divine weapons were blasted away on the spot. The ultimate profound meanings of Li Feng and the 3 skeletons also instantly dissipated. So strong? Everyone's eyes trembled. Following closely, the sword light attacked Yunxiang, the yin-yang mirror, and the other Dominator divine weapons. Just like before, Yunxiang and the 9 Dominator divine weapons were blasted away. The 9 Dominator divine weapons were still fine, but Yunxiang was spurting blood from anger, and his eyebrows were filled with weakness. Because of this, the thunder battle axe broke free and rushed to the red-haired old man's side like lightning. Just you wait. The experts of the divine kingdom will soon descend upon the Sky Cloud realm. All of you will die. The red-haired old man sneered and rushed towards the gate of the divine kingdom without looking back. Stop! Li Feng roared. He was about to chase after him, but at this moment the sword light once again attacked them. They had no choice. The yin-yang mirror, the illusory demon orb, and the other 12 Dominator divine weapons could only join forces to resist the sword light. A total of 21 Dominator divine weapons fiercely collided with the sword light. The sword light finally shattered, but the yin-yang mirror and the other 21 Dominator divine weapons also showed signs of cracking. What the hell is this thing? Looking at the Dominator divine weapons, everyone's heart was in turmoil. This is too strong. After calming down, everyone looked up and saw that the red-haired old man had already disappeared into the gate of the Divine Kingdom. The strength of the Divine Kingdom is beyond imagination. I'm afraid that even I can't stop this old thing. But fortunately, we still have the Flame Magic Sword and Long Chen's Heavenly Sword. But now, the Flame Magic Sword hasn't been repaired yet. We can't fight the Divine Kingdom head-on. Let's quickly break the seal and meet up with Long Chen, Qin Feiyong said in a deep voice. The group nodded. Swish. Immediately, everyone rushed towards the core area. Azure Dragon flew with Yun Xiang and asked with concern, Xiang, are you okay? I'm fine. Yun Xiang shook his head and took out a divine elixir of life and swallowed it. He looked up at the gate of the Divine Kingdom, his eyes full of murderous intent. Don't be impulsive. The most important thing now is to find the Feather Emperor and the others. Azure Dragon said. Don't worry, I won't do anything rash. Yun Xiang put away his murderous intent and smiled at Azure Dragon. In less than 10 breaths, they returned to the core area again. Hurry up and leave. The experts of the Divine Kingdom will be here soon. The voice of the Princess of the Divine Kingdom sounded. Let's go together. Qin Feiyong smiled. Go together? The Princess of the Divine Kingdom was stunned and said anxiously, You can't break the seal with just these sovereign divine weapons. Then I'll add my sovereign divine weapon. Qin Feiyong smiled and waved his hand. The Sword of Thanatos, Cauldron of All Things, Edgeless Heavy Sword, and other sovereign divine weapons appeared one after another. What? The Princess of the Divine Kingdom was shocked. He had so many sovereign divine weapons? Everyone, please. Qin Feiyong looked at the group of sovereign divine weapons and said sincerely. Now, only the combined forces of all the sovereign divine weapons could break the seal here. We'll do our best. The sovereign divine weapons also saw the power of the seal, but they didn't pat their chests and promise. That moment, dozens of sovereign divine weapons rushed into the sky and awakened without reservation. Even the Fire Phoenix Sword went to help. Actually, the Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, and Xintian Divine Sword didn't want to help, because when the Princess of the Divine Kingdom was sealed, they also had a part in it. And they also knew that the entire Fire Phoenix clan, including Feng Ho, definitely didn't want to see the Princess of the Divine Kingdom escape. But now, they couldn't do anything, because they had to listen to Princess Huafeng. They had to do whatever Princess Huafeng told them to do, or they would be erased by the blood oath. There were 8 sovereign divine weapons in the burial ground, plus the yin-yang mirror. A total of 9 sovereign divine weapons. Princess Huafeng had 11 sovereign divine weapons. The Blood Ancestor also had 2 sovereign divine weapons, in addition to Qin Feiyong's sovereign divine weapon. Horsetail Whisk, Grim Reaper's Sword, Golden Crow Pearl, Golden Dragon Spear, White Dragon Sword, Blood Dragon Blade, Black Dragon Mirror, Ice Phoenix Sword, All Creation Cauldron, Golden Sun Divine Sword, Silver Moon Divine Sword, Edgeless Heavy Sword, Heavenly Star Divine Sword, and Void Mirror. There was also the White-Eyed Wolf's Ghost, the Divine King's Throne, and the Crimson Dragon Shield. Even the Green Cauldron, the Golden Bell, and the Ancient Pagoda were there. Even if the Ancient Castle wasn't there, there were more than 40 sovereign divine weapons in total, which was more than the number of sovereign divine weapons used to seal the Princess of the Divine Kingdom. Because back then, the 3 major clans had a total of 30 sovereign divine weapons. Including the Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Qilin Lord, it was only equivalent to 33 sovereign divine weapons. Wasn't this more than enough to break the seal? Boom! As the group of sovereign divine weapons attacked, a dazzling barrier suddenly appeared in the sky above the core area. This barrier was the seal. Chapter 3850. As the dozens of sovereign divine weapons crazily crushed, the barrier continued to distort and tremble. Crack! Finally, With a loud bang, a crack appeared on the indestructible barrier. It works! Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. But at this moment, a terrifying aura suddenly surged out of the Divine Kingdom's gate in the sky. Qin Feiyang and the others were shocked and immediately looked up at the gate of the Divine Kingdom. Although they hadn't seen anyone yet, it wasn't difficult to judge from the terrifying aura that at least a dozen experts were about to arrive at the Sky Cloud realm. Quick! The Blood Ancestor urged. Of course, the sovereign divine weapons didn't dare to be negligent. A red-haired old man was already so strong, let alone a dozen experts of the Divine Kingdom. What they feared the most was the sword light. If the sword light reappeared later, none of them would be able to escape. Boom! The sovereign divine weapons once again concentrated their firepower and blasted at a point. This point was the place where the crack had appeared before. Terrifying divine power rushed at the crack like a torrent. With a loud crack, the seal finally reached its limit and broke on the spot. As the seal broke, the thunder and storm inside immediately roared out, exuding a destructive aura. The sovereign divine weapons once again forcibly suppressed the thunder and storm. Whoosh! At the same time, a dragon shadow appeared from the thunder and lightning. This was a purple-gold divine dragon, about 10 feet long. There was no trace of blood on its body, but between its eyebrows, there was a sense of weakness. Moreover, her body also seemed a little blurry. Obviously, the princess of the Divine Kingdom was now in the form of a divine soul. And it was an incomplete divine soul. Sister-in-law. The Blood Ancestor hurriedly greeted her, his old face full of joy. She is the princess of the Divine Kingdom. The real purple-gold divine dragon. Princess Huofeng sized up the dragon soul. Although she was the eldest princess of the Fire Phoenix clan and was loved by Feng Ho, she had never been to the land of the buried gods before and naturally had never seen a purple-gold divine dragon. In the past, like everyone else, the purple-gold divine dragon was a legendary existence in her eyes. It could be said that, aside from people like the Blood Ancestor who were in the know, most people believed that the purple-gold divine dragon was just a legend that didn't exist in this world. One could imagine. Now that they were witnessing the birth of a purple-gold divine dragon with their own eyes, it was a huge blow to their souls. Especially Qin Feiyang. This was because the princess of the Divine Kingdom was not just a purple-gold divine dragon in his eyes. She was also his family. Especially at the moment when the seal was broken, the feeling of blood being thicker than water was especially strong. Then he looked at the princess of the Divine Kingdom. After escaping, she looked around at this familiar world and the Blood Ancestor's face that she hadn't seen in a long time. She felt as if she was in a dream. I've made you suffer. The Blood Ancestor looked at the princess of the Divine Kingdom, his face full of grief and indignation. If not for the fact that the Dragon King and the other two had not betrayed them and attacked them from behind, how could he and the Feather Emperor have left their home? How could the human sovereign fall? How could the princess of the Divine Kingdom have been sealed for so many years? If not, Qin Badian would not have been sent to the Great Qin, and the descendants of the Qin clan like Qin Feiyang would not have had to wander around and suffer so much. All of this was because of the Dragon King and the other two. A debt of blood must be paid with blood. The princess of the Divine Kingdom shook her head and sighed. Compared to what you've experienced all these years, what I've suffered is nothing. It's just that I pity my child. He has been uprooted from his home ever since he was born and has never enjoyed a day of fatherly and motherly love. Don't worry. Qin Badian is living very well now. The Blood Ancestor comforted her. Really? The princess of the Divine Kingdom looked at the Blood Ancestor in surprise. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He looked at the Blood Ancestor in surprise and asked, Ancestor, do you know where the ancestors are? He had always wondered where the two ancestors had gone. Why had there been no news at all after so many years? But at this moment, judging from the Blood Ancestor's tone, he seemed to know where the two ancestors were. Of course, the Blood Ancestor nodded. Then where are they? Qin Feiyang hurriedly asked. There. The Blood Ancestor was about to speak. But then, the gate of the Divine Kingdom in the sky was accompanied by a terrifying energy, and a dozen people descended. Let's go. The princess of the Divine Kingdom was startled and hurriedly shouted. Li Feng immediately waved his hand and a spacetime portal was opened. Then a group of people rushed into the portal without looking back. The seal was broken? They're really capable. The leader was a middle-aged man in golden armor. He was 7 feet tall and as straight as a pine tree. His thick black eyebrows were as sharp as swords, giving him an astonishing sharpness. His face was rough and his eyes were deep. There was a domineering aura between his eyebrows. He glanced at the core area below, and then looked at the space-time portal that Qin Feiyang and the others had escaped through. He pointed his index finger in the air and the power of law suddenly appeared on his fingertip, turning into a giant wave that surged toward the portal. Boom! In an instant. With a loud bang, the space-time portal was shattered. But he didn't see Qin Feiyang and the others. Obviously, they had been teleported away. Find them! The middle-aged man in golden armor waved his hand and the dozen people immediately scattered and disappeared without a trace. Sky Cloud Island. Long Chan stood on the top of the mountain and looked at the space-time rift suspended above with a frown. What was more strange was that for some reason the Sea Lion Emperor and the others were attacking the space-time rift together. Buzz! Suddenly, a space-time rift appeared in the void behind him. Long Chan turned his head and saw Qin Feiyang and the others running out awkwardly. Long Chen's pupils shrank when he found that there was a purple gold divine dragon beside Qin Feiyang and the others. If he guessed correctly, she should be the princess of the divine kingdom. Qin Feiyang and the others ran out of the space-time rift and found that Long Chan and the others were still on the top of the mountain. They were stunned. What's going on? Why didn't you go to Hades? Li Feng asked. The Sea Lion Emperor and the others stopped and turned to look at Qin Feiyang and the others. Their faces were full of anger. But when they saw the princess of the divine kingdom, a trace of joy appeared on their faces. They quickly bowed and saluted. Greetings, Madam of the Human Emperor. No need to be so polite. The princess of the divine kingdom smiled. Madam of the Human Emperor? She is the wife of the Human Emperor, the princess of the divine kingdom. Tan Wu and the others were curious. Qin Feiyang looked at the space-time rift and walked to Long Chan and asked, "What's going on?" Long Chan said in a deep voice, "This space-time rift seems to have collapsed." "What? It has collapsed?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "Yes. When we came here and wanted to go in, we found that we couldn't. At first, I thought that Little Rabbit and the others might have joined forces to seal this rift, when they left to prevent the experts of the divine kingdom from entering the lower realm to commit crimes like they did in the past. But when I thought about it, even if they joined forces to seal the rift, I'm afraid they wouldn't be able to stop the experts of the divine kingdom. So in the end I guess that they must have collapsed the rift. Because only by collapsing the rift can they completely stop the experts of the divine kingdom," Long Chen said. Collapse the rift? Although collapsing the rift can indeed prevent the divine kingdom from entering the lower realm, at the same time, won't it also block their way back? Azure Dragon was surprised. Block their way back. Yun Xiang was stunned. That's right. If this rift has really collapsed, then they will never be able to return to the Sky Cloud realm. Azure Dragon nodded. Then we can't go to Hades now, right? Yun Xiang was stunned. Yes. Azure Dragon nodded again. How could they do something like cutting off their own path of retreat? Yun Xiang raised his eyebrows. It can't be helped. If they didn't collapse the rift, I'm afraid the experts of the divine kingdom would have already killed their way to the lower realm. However, from the current situation we can at least be sure that they have indeed gone to Hades' hell, and the situation is better than we expected. Qin Feiyang sized up the space-time rift. If the rift collapsed, how could they meet up with Feather Emperor and the others? Yes. Originally, we speculated that not only them, but also the experts of the divine kingdom had entered Hades' hell. But now it seems that the experts of the divine kingdom didn't go down. Not to mention anything else, at least they are safe for now. And something worth celebrating is that the first and second levels of the divine realm, the ancient realm and Great Qin haven't been implicated. Long Chen nodded. After saying that, he looked at Qin Feiyang. Because Qin Feiyang was most worried about Great Qin and the ancient realm. Suddenly, the purple gold divine dragon looked at Long Chan and asked, "You are Long Chan, right?" "Yes." Long Chan nodded and looked at the purple gold divine dragon with a trace of respect on his face. "You are indeed an outstanding young man. Indeed, as you speculated, they have indeed gone to Hades' hell, And they have indeed collapsed this rift in order to prevent the experts of the Divine Kingdom from entering the lower realm and wreaking havoc. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom sighed. Everyone looked at the Princess of the Divine Kingdom. There will be signs in advance of the arrival of the Divine Kingdom's gate. So when the signs appeared, Feather Emperor immediately came to find me. He told me that the sovereign divine weapons of the Sky Cloud realm all followed you to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. With the current strength of the Sky Cloud realm, it is impossible to clash with the Divine Kingdom. So, after a discussion with the Dragon King, Feng Ho, the Qilin Lord, and the Little Rabbit, he had no choice but to make a difficult decision. That is to transfer all the living beings of the Sky Cloud realm to Hades' Hell, and destroy the only rift to prevent the people of the Divine Kingdom from pursuing. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom explained. The Azure Dragon sighed and said, although I didn't see it with my own eyes, I can imagine how painful and helpless they were when they made this decision. Yes, the Divine Kingdom's target is not only the Sky Cloud realm, but also the other continents. Just as you said, the Ancient Realm and Great Qin are both targets of their conquest. The Sky Cloud realm is undoubtedly the first line of defense. If the Sky Cloud realm can't withstand the invasion of the Divine Kingdom, then the other continents can't. They don't want to give up, but for the sake of the world they have no choice. However, Feather Emperor also told me that they have a trump card. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom said. A trump card. Qin Feiyang and the others were surprised. That's right. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom nodded, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, the key is you? Me? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Everyone looked at Qin Feiyang again. Chapter 3851. Yes. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom nodded and asked, do you still remember the situation you encountered in this passage when you came to the Tianyun realm? Qin Feiyang recalled a little and nodded, I remember. Back then, Elder Hai and Pei Wanli went to the Great Qin Empire and kidnapped my wife, the Mermaid Princess. When I entered the passage, I found that they were intercepted by Elder Hua, so I joined forces with Elder Hua to kill Pei Wanli and Elder Hai. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom asked, then do you remember the badge you got from them? Badge? Qin Feiyang was taken aback. He tried hard to recall for a moment. Suddenly he patted his head and quickly rummaged through the universe ring. Soon, he found a badge. This badge was as big as a baby's fist. It was as if it was cast from gold foil. It was flowing with light and color, and there was a divine dragon pattern engraved on it. Back then, when he had obtained the badge, he had asked the little rabbit about it. The little rabbit said that it was a hot potato and advised him to throw it away quickly. However, at that time he didn't trust the little rabbit, so he didn't throw it away and kept it with him. Qin Feiyang held the badge and looked at the Princess of the Divine Kingdom. Are you talking about this? Yes. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom nodded. What's so special about this badge? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. But at this time, Long Chan stared at the badge and frowned. Why does it have father's aura? Your father's aura? When Qin Feiyang heard this, he immediately looked at Long Chan in surprise. Why didn't he feel the aura of the ice dragon? Long Chan stepped forward and took the badge from Qin Feiyang's hand. After carefully observing for a moment, he nodded and said, it does have father's aura, but it is very weak. If it weren't for my blood connection with him, I wouldn't have sensed it. So this badge was made by your father? Qin Feiyang frowned. I don't know. I haven't seen it either. Long Chan shook his head. This badge, regardless of whether it was created by his father or not, cannot be ignored because it has the ability to block all rules. Said the Princess of the Divine Kingdom. What? Blocking all rules? Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. That's right. In other words, as long as you have this badge, you can ignore all rules. Back then, when Little Rabbit saw this badge, the reason why she told you to throw it away was because this badge had a heaven-defying ability and belonged to the ice dragon. She was afraid that if you kept it by your side, you would be killed. But what's strange is that the ice dragon hasn't come to you to retrieve this badge all these years. After the Princess of the Divine Kingdom finished speaking, she looked at Long Chan suspiciously. Don't look at me. Although I am his biological son, I don't know him at all. Long Chan shook his head and smiled bitterly. Qin Feiyang asked, You mean to say that we can use this badge to block the rules and directly teleport to the underworld? That's right. The princess of the divine kingdom nodded and said, and this badge also has the ability to repair this passage. Repair the passage? Everyone immediately stared at the badge in Qin Feiyang's hand. It was indeed a way out. Qin Feiyang was also very excited. Heaven never bars one's way out. He finally understood why Old Hai and Pei Wanli could interfere with the rules of the miracle. The reason was because of this badge. Speaking of which, the ice dragon was really willing to spend a lot of money. In order to deal with him, he actually gave such a precious thing to Pei Wanli, a playboy. The princess of the divine kingdom said, although the passage can be repaired, I advise you not to do it now, because at present, you don't have the strength to contend with the divine kingdom. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, looked at everyone and said, since the passage can't be repaired now, let's go to the underworld and meet up with everyone first. Okay. No one present objected. How do we do it? Qin Feiyang looked at the princess of the divine kingdom and asked. The princess of the divine kingdom said, drip blood on it to recognize its master and revive it. Drip blood to recognize its master? Qin Feiyang was stunned. That's right. If you don't drip blood to recognize its master, it can't be revived. If it can't be revived, it can only exert the ability to interfere with the rules, but it can't completely block the rules. The princess of the divine kingdom nodded. Is there such a thing? Qin Feiyang frowned, cut his finger, and a drop of purple gold dragon blood appeared and dripped on the badge. However, this drop of purple gold dragon blood was not absorbed by the badge, and it didn't recognize its master. What's going on? Not only Qin Feiyang but everyone was stunned. The princess of the divine kingdom said in surprise, does it still have a master now? It has a master. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Hearing this, he couldn't help but recall what happened when he found this badge in Pei Wanli's universe ring. That time, he, the mermaid princess, the white-eyed wolf, the blood Kirin, and other beasts looked at this badge with curiosity. Just as they released their divine sense and poured it into the badge to check it out, a mysterious force suddenly emerged, and the group of them was severely injured. Could it be that the source of the mysterious power was the blood contract hidden in the badge? Just as Qin Feiyang was thinking, Yun Xiang, Li Feng, and the others released their divine sense and poured it into the badge. No. Qin Feiyang noticed this scene and hurriedly spoke to stop it. But it was too late. Everyone's divine sense poured into the badge, and the familiar mysterious force appeared again. The divine sense of the group was directly shattered by that mysterious force. A trace of blood dripped from the corner of their mouth. What? Everyone was shocked. Qin Feiyang was also incomparably shocked. Back then, his cultivation had just reached the half-step invincible realm, so it was reasonable for him to be injured by the mysterious force in the badge. But now, everyone here was an expert with a perfect dominator's divine weapon. How could they be injured by this force? How strong was it? But at the same time, Long Chan stared at the badge, his eyes flashing. However, no one noticed this abnormality, not even Qin Feiyang. Azure Dragon frowned and said, this should be the power of the blood contract. But whose blood contract is it? The Sea Lion Emperor shook his head and said, the blood contract doesn't contain the owner's aura, so it's impossible to tell. Do you still need to think about it? Qin Feiyang sneered and looked up at Long Chan. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but look at Long Chan, and they suddenly understood. Right. This badge was an ice dragon's item, so it must be the ice dragon's blood contract. Qin Feiyang looked at Long Chan and said, I was wondering why your father could find me no matter where I went. So it was because of this badge. This badge had the ice dragon's blood contract, so the ice dragon could naturally sense the badge's location through the blood contract. Sensing the badge's location was equivalent to knowing his location. This has nothing to do with me. Don't blame me. Long Chun was helpless. Now is not the time to care about this. Quickly find a way to erase the ice dragon's blood contract, or else we can't go to hell. The princess of the divine kingdom said. Old ancestor, who has the ability to erase the ice dragon's blood contract? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. If it could be erased, they wouldn't have been injured by the blood contract's power. Hearing this, everyone's hearts were filled with bitterness. Let me try. Long Chun opened his mouth and looked at Qin Feiyang. But if it's possible, then I won't return this badge to you. Qin Feiyang frowned. Long Chun might really be able to. Although he didn't know where the ice dragon was now because of the blood connection, when he sensed that Long Chun wanted to erase the badge's blood contract, as the father, the ice dragon naturally couldn't stop him. He might even take the initiative to dissolve the blood contract. However, this badge had the ability to block all rules. To be honest, he really couldn't bear to give it to Long Chun. Boom! This time, an aura rolled over from the sea in the distance. Not good they found their way here. Everyone's expression changed. Qin Feiyang's face sank slightly, and he made a prompt decision and threw the badge to Long Chun. Even if he didn't give it to him now, it wouldn't become his in the end because the blood contract was still there. As long as the ice dragon was willing, he could take it back at any time. Long Chun grabbed the badge without using divine thought. He released a surge of divine dragon force into the badge and rushed toward the blood contract. Because the divine dragon force contained his aura, it could let the ice dragon sense it faster. Boom! Just like before, the blood contract erupted with a terrifying force, rushing toward Long Chun's divine dragon force. However, just as Long Chun's divine dragon force was about to be crushed, that mysterious force suddenly and quickly subsided. It seemed that the ice dragon had already sensed that it was Long Chun. Immediately after, the blood contract dissolved on its own. Subsequently, the master recognition ceremony was successfully completed. As expected of father and son, the treatment is indeed different. Qin Feiyang pursed his lips. Long Chun laughed dryly. Boom! That aura was getting closer and closer. The calm sea also set off huge waves that blotted out the sky. Let's go! Azure Dragon shouted. Long Chun retracted his gaze, and rays of dazzling divine light suddenly emerged from the badge. At this moment, Qin Feiyang could clearly feel that he was no longer restricted by this land, and had arrived outside of heaven and earth. The next moment, Long Chun waved his hand, and a space-time tunnel appeared. You guys go in first. Qin Feiyang looked at Azure Dragon and the others and shouted. Whoosh! What was there to be polite about? Everyone rushed into the space-time tunnel without looking back. Qin Feiyang, Long Chun, the Blood Ancestor, and the Princess of the Divine Kingdom walked at the back. When they were about to enter the space-time tunnel, they turned their heads and looked at the sky above the sea in the distance. They saw a golden figure rushing toward them like lightning. It was accompanied by a terrifying divine sense. It was the middle-aged man in golden armor. When the divine thought reached Qin Feiyang and the others, the middle-aged man in golden armor immediately looked in their direction, and his speed instantly increased by several times. At the same time he shouted, Your Highness, please don't be so stubborn. You should go back and tell Father this. If this continues, the Divine Kingdom will be destroyed in his hands sooner or later. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom sighed, then turned around and led Qin Feiyang and the others into the space-time tunnel without looking back and disappeared. A few seconds later, the middle-aged man in golden armor landed in the sky above Sky Cloud Island and looked down at the space-time tunnel that was already disappearing. His face was full of anger. What kind of charm did this lowly civilization have to make the princess of the god nation so reluctant to part with it? What a bunch of damned ants! Chapter 3852. Nether King's Hell. This land was very unfamiliar to Princess Huafeng and the others. They had only heard of this place. But for Qin Feiyang, Tan Wu, Hell Godhound and Fire Qilin, they were very familiar with it. Especially Qin Feiyang. He had entered Nether King's Hell more than once. And in Nether King's Hell, there were too many people he was familiar with. Like the guardian of the miracle Fire Python. Like the ruler of Nether King's Hell, King Yu. There were also King Yu's subordinates Shweta and Shwe Air. It could be said that his return here was equivalent to returning to his own home. In a certain place, a giant mountain towered high into the sky. A space-time crack was suspended above the mountain peak. This was the entrance to the Sky Cloud realm. At this moment, on the mountain peak there were 5 figures. In fact, the 4 of them were 3 men and 1 woman. They sat cross-legged on the mountain peak and seemed to be cultivating with their eyes closed. However, their divine sense had been enveloping the surroundings. One of them was a white-haired man. One could clearly see his true appearance. His appearance was extraordinary and his temperament was otherworldly. His face was quite vicissitudes of life. The other three were shrouded in a mist, looking quite mysterious. Aside from the four of them, there was only a snow-white little rabbit left. It was lying on a huge rock, drinking from a jug of wine while looking at the space-time crack. There was a trace of worry between its brows that could not be dispelled. Obviously, they were the little rabbit, Feather Emperor, Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Qilin Lord, the 5 supergiants of the Sky Cloud realm. In addition to them, there was no one else around. In the mountains below, there were many fierce beasts. Without exception, these fierce beasts were all blood-red. Their eyes were also blood-red, and their ferocious aura was threatening. However, when they saw the little rabbit and Feather Emperor, their eyes were filled with fear. None of the fierce beasts dared to approach them. Buzz! A spacetime crack suddenly appeared in the void above. In an instant, Feather Emperor and the other three opened their eyes. The little rabbit also stopped drinking and looked up. The fierce beasts in the mountains below were no exception. They looked at the spacetime crack in surprise. For a moment, this place fell into a dead silence. As time passed, a figure finally walked out of the spacetime crack. It was Sea Lion Emperor. Little Lion? The little rabbit's body shook. Uncle Rabbit? When King Sea Lion heard the voice, he immediately looked at Little Rabbit with a look of surprise. Just as he was about to rush towards the little rabbit, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. A series of rule force whistled and blasted towards the Sea Lion Emperor. This was the power of the laws of hell. Here, no matter how strong your cultivation was, you could only suppress it to the great circle of the 9 heavens realm. Otherwise, you would be killed by the rules. Unless one grasped the ultimate profundity of an ultimate law. Because he grasped the ultimate profundity of the strongest law, he could interfere with the rule power. However, the Sea Lion Emperor did not. He was immediately shocked. However, at this moment, a mysterious power surged out from the space-time tunnel and enveloped Sea Lion Emperor. The power of law immediately dissipated. It was the badge in Long Chen's hand. With the appearance of the Sea Lion Emperor, the others walked out of the passage one after another. Oh, Long Chen, Elder Qing, Xiaoyan. Whether it was the Feather Emperor, the Dragon King, the Qilin Master, or Feng Ho, they were all overjoyed at this moment. Finally, Qin Feiyang appeared. Qin Feiyang, the Feather Emperor, and the little rabbit were undoubtedly even happier. However, a trace of killing intent appeared in the eyes of the Dragon King and the other two. Bing Runing and the others had already told them about what Qin Feiyang had done in the Skybell Divine Treasury. Thus, they had been filled with anger. He is Qin Feiyang? The fierce beasts below also looked at Qin Feiyang in a daze. They were naturally no stranger to Qin Feiyang. Back then, the name Qin Feiyang had already spread throughout hell. Even if they had never seen him in person, they had heard of Qin Feiyang's deeds. It wasn't just the Ghost King Big Shui and the other commanders. Even the Hell King and the Guardians of Hell called Qin Feiyang brothers. What? You want to touch Qin Feiyang? Suddenly, accompanied by a murderous voice, the Blood Ancestor and the Princess of the Divine Kingdom both walked out of the passage. Shweta, sister-in-law. The Feather Emperor was taken aback and hurriedly greeted them in surprise. The eyes of the Dragon King and the other two sank slightly. As expected, Qin Feiyang still saved the Princess of the Divine Kingdom. They had already known about the existence of the Blood Ancestor when they entered the Skybell Divine Treasury. Moreover, they had also learned about the Blood Ancestor's deeds in the Skybell Divine Treasury from Bing Runing and the others. It seemed that he had already grasped the ultimate meaning of the law of death. As for the Blood Ancestor grasping the ultimate meaning of the law of time, they naturally didn't know, because this was something that had happened later. After all these years, you have all become stronger than before. However, I am no longer the same as before. Thanks to all of you, I might be even stronger than all of you now. Therefore, from now on, if anyone dares to touch Qin Feiyang and the others, I will slaughter their entire clan. The Blood Ancestor was extremely domineering. As soon as he appeared, he gave the Dragon King and the other two a show of strength. Is that so? I am really looking forward to it. How strong are you now? The Dragon King sneered, his tone containing a trace of killing intent. Sure, why don't you give it a try? The Blood Ancestor took a step forward and activated the Law of Death, the Law of Slaughter, and the Law of Time at the same time. The power of the three laws surged toward the Dragon King like angry waves. What? The Dragon King's pupils shrank. Although the Blood Ancestor hadn't activated the ultimate meaning, it wasn't difficult to distinguish the strength of the law power. It had already reached the level of the ultimate meaning. Feng Ho and the Qilin Master also had solemn expressions. The Little Rabbit and the Feather Emperor had playful looks on their faces. The Feather Emperor said, Shweta, it seems that you have gained a lot from this trip to the Skybell Divine Treasury. Of course. The Blood Ancestor smiled proudly. The Little Rabbit waved her paws and said, all right, put away your arrogance. Now is not the time for internal strife. That's what you call arrogance. The Blood Ancestor glared at the Little Rabbit. Then, he stared at the Dragon King trio and sneered before putting away the power of law. Feng Ho heaved a sigh of relief. She looked at Princess Huafeng and said in a deep voice, the two of you come here. Her tone seemed to contain a trace of anger. Princess Huafeng and Daifuka suddenly felt uneasy. They had repeatedly helped Qin Feiyang in the Skybell Divine Treasury. Not to mention the dragons and the Qilin clan. Even Princess Huafeng's grandfather, Hua Dahong, would definitely tell Feng Ho immediately. If Feng Ho knew about this, would she let them off easily? Don't worry, we are here. Qin Feiyang saw the two's worry and transmitted his voice. Didn't you hear? Feng Ho said angrily. The two took a deep breath and braced themselves to walk toward Feng Ho. Qin Feiyang looked at Feng Ho and said indifferently, let me give you a word of advice. Don't hurt them. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Feng Ho raised her head and looked at Qin Feiyang. After going to the Skybell Divine Treasury, he actually dared to openly provoke her? The Feather Emperor and the Little Rabbit were also very surprised. This little guy is no longer the little guy from back then. The Blood Ancestor smiled secretly. What do you mean? The Feather Emperor and the Little Rabbit were suspicious. It means that even Feng Ho might not be his match. Of course, in addition to Qin Feiyang, the White-Eyed Wolf, and the Little Lunatic have also obtained great fortunes in the Skybell Divine Treasury. When they come out of seclusion, they will give you a big shock. The Blood Ancestor smiled secretly. The Feather Emperor and the Little Rabbit were stunned. Even Feng Ho might not be Qin Feiyang's match? Wasn't this a little too exaggerated? However, the Blood Ancestor wasn't the kind of person who liked to joke. He couldn't help but look forward to it. Facing Feng Ho's gaze, Qin Feiyang wasn't afraid at all. He said indifferently, I'm just giving you a kind advice. If you want to listen, then listen. If you don't want to listen, then forget it. Anyway, just don't regret it when the time comes. Then I thank you for your kind intentions first. Feng Ho snorted coldly. Looking at Princess Huafeng and Daifuku who walked in front of her, she could clearly feel an aura of anger. Long Chen. Compared to Feng Ho, the Dragon King's attitude toward Long Chen was much better. Because even the Dragon King didn't dare to offend Long Chen. I've made the Dragon King worry. Long Chen smiled slightly. It's good that you're back. The Dragon King smiled. Long Chen asked, where are my mother and sister? They're all fine. The Dragon King nodded. Hearing this, Long Chen's heart, which had been hanging in the air, was finally relieved. Qi Xiaoyun and Whitebeard also walked to the side of the Qilin Lord and asked about his well-being with concern. Brother Qin, so you're back. I thought that I would never see you in the Nether King's hell in my life. How have you been all these years? By the way, why don't I see the Madman and the Wolf King? At this moment, in the mountains below, a group of fierce beasts rushed up. Their blood-red eyes were full of kindness. Looking at this scene, Princess Huafeng and the others revealed a trace of disbelief in their eyes. These fierce beasts at first glance were ferocious by nature, but they didn't expect to have such a good relationship with Qin Feiyang, the Madman and the White-Eyed Wolf. They were like old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. Qin Feiyang looked at those fierce beasts. To be honest, he didn't have any impression of these fierce beasts. He had never even seen them before, but the other party always remembered them. We're all fine. Thank you for your concern. What about you? These years, did anything major happen in the Nether King's hell? Qin Feiyong asked with a smile. We won't talk about it. Since Lord Fire Python guarded the Nether King's hell, it's much more peaceful than before. But, when the group of fierce beasts said this, they couldn't help but look at Dragon King and the others. At the same time, they seemed to be a little angry and disgusted. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. Qin Feiyong smiled slightly. They're still as arrogant as ever. Dragon King and the others couldn't help but snort coldly in their hearts. And Brother Qin is righteous. However, they have already injured Lord Fire Python. A fierce beast said angrily. What? Injured Fire Python? Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows immediately. This happened when they just came to the Nether King's hell. At that time Lord Fire Python questioned them, asking where they came from and why they came to the Nether King's hell. However, they relied on their strength and spoke rudely to Lord Fire Python. Lord Fire Python was angry and wanted to use rule force to suppress them, but in the end they actually interfered with rule force and injured Lord Fire Python. A group of fierce beasts roared angrily. Chapter 3853. When Qin Feiyong heard that, he immediately looked at Dragon King and the other two. His eyes were filled with intense coldness. Dragon King and the other two raised their eyebrows. Although the Fire Python was the guardian of this place, in their eyes, it was just an ant-like existence. But they never expected that the Fire Python was related to Qin Feiyong. And looking at the current situation, their relationship was not ordinary. These beasts really deserved to die. They were usually obedient in front of them, but when they saw Qin Feiyong return, they began to complain. Seeing that the situation was not good, the Feather Emperor looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "This matter is indeed their fault, but I have already reprimanded them, and the Fire Python is not seriously injured." Qin Feiyong looked at the Feather Emperor and asked, "So this matter is true?" The Feather Emperor was slightly stunned, as if he was surprised that Qin Feiyong suddenly interrupted him. Then when he saw Qin Feiyong's gloomy face, he could not help but sigh in his heart. It seemed that this matter could not be resolved peacefully. Yes. He did not explain further, nor did he try to persuade him. He nodded. Originally, out of consideration for the overall situation, he did not want to make a big deal out of this matter, because it would affect the unity of the various races. But looking at Qin Feiyong's current expression, it was as if he had touched his reverse scale. And as a close relative, whether right or wrong, he should stand on Qin Feiyong's side. Moreover, this matter was the fault of Dragon King and the other two. So, if he continued to persuade and obstruct, he was afraid that Qin Feiyong would be dissatisfied. He might even have a problem with him. It was not worth it to destroy this familial relationship for Dragon King and the other two. Then he looked at Qin Feiyong. Seeing that the Feather Emperor nodded, he looked at Dragon King and the other two again and asked, "I would like to ask, are you here for sightseeing?" The disgust in his heart towards the three of them became even stronger. Dragon King and the other two shook their heads. What was Qin Feiyong going to say? Qin Feiyong asked again, "Then are you here on behalf of Ice Dragon and Small Beast for a routine inspection?" The three shook their heads again. "What are you trying to say?" Dragon King raised his eyebrows, his tone extremely impatient. "You're getting impatient?" Qin Feiyong was so angry that he laughed. He glanced at the three of them and said, "What I want to say is, you came to other people's territory to take refuge. What right do you have to show off and abuse your power in front of them?" The three frowned. "What is it?" "Not convinced. To be honest, I really admire your thick skin. The Fire Python took you in so that you could have a place to stay in the Infernal King's hell. But what about you? How did you repay it?" Not only did he not show the slightest bit of gratitude, he even spoke rudely to it and attacked it. Is this how the three great giants of the Sky Cloud realm conduct themselves? Qin Feiyong was furious. He had always been grateful and respectful towards the Fire Python, because in the past, the Fire Python had helped him too much. And every time it helped him, it took the risk of being punished by the Ice Dragon and the Small Beast. He still remembered that when he opened the Gate of Rebirth and was in a state of near death in the Great Qin Empire, it was the Fire Python who came to save his life with the elixir. Although this elixir was won from the Ice Dragon at the cost of the inner demons and his cousin's life, But if the fire python did not send it in time, he would still be dead. So, whether it was for public or private reasons, he would not allow anyone to hurt the fire python. To this, Dragon King and the other two were silent. Although their expressions could not be seen, they could clearly feel a trace of disdain. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, looked at the Dragon King and the other two and continued, I know that there are many people here who want to persuade me to look at the big picture. I, Qin Feiyang, am not an unreasonable person. I can let this matter go. However, you must apologize to the fire python in person and obtain his forgiveness. There was no room for negotiation in his words. Apologize to it? Dragon King laughed angrily and could no longer hold back the anger in his heart. He shouted, Why? What is it? What qualifications does it have to make us apologize? Don't forget that it is because we fought with the divine kingdom in the sky cloud realm that they can live a carefree life here. That's right. Back then, when the experts of the divine kingdom fought their way to the hell of Hades, it was the Blood Demon King who brought the Blood Demon clan here and fought a bloody battle with the experts of the divine kingdom to protect this continent. Otherwise, not to mention the hell of Hades, even your hometown, the Great Qin Empire, and even the ancient realm, I'm afraid would no longer exist. So, the truly great people are us and the ones who should be grateful are us, do you understand? Feng Ho and the Kirin Master were also extremely dissatisfied. He actually wanted them to apologize to an ant from the lower realm? Was this even possible? The greatness of the Blood Demon King, I don't think otherwise. Your efforts and contributions can't be erased. But, are your actions truly worthy of the word great? If it wasn't for your selfishness, would the human emperor have fallen? Would the feather emperor and the blood ancestor have left their homes? Would the princess of the divine kingdom have been sealed for so many years? I believe that the princess of the divine kingdom also played a part in driving away the divine kingdom. She is the princess of the divine kingdom, the daughter of the king of the divine kingdom. To our world, she is an outsider. But for such an outsider, for the sake of the sky cloud realm and the people of the world, she didn't hesitate to fall out with her family and go against her own people. Isn't she great? Shouldn't you be grateful to her? But in the end, you mercilessly sealed her. If it wasn't for Big Brother taking care of the land of buried gods all these years, I'm afraid not only her, but also the respected divine beasts like the Azure Dragon would have died in your hands. And my clansmen of the Qin clan. If it weren't for you three, would we have been stranded in a foreign land? So the truly great people are the Blood Demon King, the Human Emperor, the Feather Emperor, the Blood Ancestor, the Princess of the Divine Kingdom, the Azure Dragon, and the Sea Lion Emperor. Not you. Qin Feiyang clenched his fists. He was trying his best to endure. Don't try to challenge his bottom line. Hearing these words, the Feather Emperor, the Blood Ancestor, and the others looked at each other. The resentment and anger that had been suppressed in their hearts couldn't help but rise. They didn't want to think about these past events, because every time they thought about it, they were angrier than Qin Feiyang. Even today, after many years, when they faced the Dragon King and the others again, they didn't take the initiative to mention it. They silently endured it. But now, not only did the Dragon King and the others not reflect on themselves, but they also claimed to be great. Where did they get the courage? Looking at the Dragon King and the others again, they seemed to have been hit where it hurt, making them very embarrassed. They lowered their heads in silence. After a long time, the Dragon King said, No matter what you say, we have a clear conscience. If you don't have any selfish motives, you can indeed say that you have a clear conscience. But now, touch your conscience and ask yourselves, are you really worthy of the words clear conscience? Qin Feiyang sneered. I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you. Feng Ho snorted coldly, looked at Princess Huafeng and said, Wooer, suppress your cultivation to the Nine Heavens realm. Let's go. Princess Huafeng looked a little hesitant, but in the end she nodded. Qin Feiyang raised the corner of his mouth and said jokingly, Lord Feng Ho, are you too lazy to talk nonsense with me? Or are you guilty and don't dare to face us again? Don't go too far. Feng Ho immediately looked at Qin Feiyang, killing intent flashing in her eyes. You are the ones who are going too far. If you don't apologize to the fire python today, don't even think about leaving. Qin Feiyang stared at the three of them, his eyes as sharp as blades. As expected of a scholar who has been away for 3 days, I have to look at you with new eyes. Good, very good. Then let's see if you have the ability to stop us. Feng Ho sneered, turned around and left with Princess Huafeng. The Dragon King and the Qilin Master did not stay, turning around and leaving with Long Chan, Qi Xiaoyun, and the others. But the Fire Qilin, Tan Wu, and the Cerberus did not move. Looking at the Qilin Master's back, they could not help but frown. Obviously, the Qilin Master's attitude made them a little uncomfortable. It seems that they really want to challenge my bottom line. Looking at the backs of the 3 people, a trace of a smile gradually crept onto Qin Feiyang's face. However, the appearance of this smile not only did not alleviate the atmosphere of the scene, it instead became even more serious. Whoosh! The next moment, 3 figures appeared. It was Li Zhongxing, Qiao Shui, and the old poison. When the Feather Emperor and the little rabbit saw the 3, their pupils shrunk. They had never seen these 3 before? Could they be the undead of the Sky Bell Divine Treasury? But they did not seem to sense any undead aura from them either. But one thing was for sure. The 3 of them were very strong. Qin Feiyang looked at the 3 and said with a smile, "You should be familiar with the Black Tortoise world now, right?" Yes. The 3 nodded. They could only use one word to describe the Black Tortoise world. Absolute. Qin Feiyang looked at the Dragon King's group and said with a smile, "Then help me stop them." Li Zhongxing's group raised their heads and saw Princess Huafeng, Long Chan, Qi Xiaoyun, and the Whitebeard. They were all obediently following beside the 3. Li Zhongxing chuckled and said, "They seem to be very strong. Why don't you give it a try?" Qin Feiyang smiled. Haha. Li Zhongxing laughed loudly as he swept up Qiao Shui and the old poison. He activated Momentary Time and instantly appeared in front of the Dragon King's group. The 3 raised their brows. Princess Huafeng, Qi Xiaoyun, and the Whitebeard couldn't help but feel nervous. As for Long Chan, he looked at Li Zhongxing's group before looking at the Dragon King's group. His expression was rather calm, because to him, regardless of whether it was the Dragon King or Qin Feiyang, he did not have much feelings for them. The old poison looked at the 3 and said with a smile, "I'm new here. Please give me some pointers." New here? The Feather Emperor and the little rabbit exchanged glances. Were they really the undead of the Sky Bell Divine Treasury? The little rabbit looked at the Blood Ancestor and asked doubtfully, "Old devil, what's going on?" Although we have only been in the Sky Bell Divine Treasury for a little over 100 years, it is much more exciting than the last time we entered. I will explain it to you later. For now, let's watch the show. The Blood Ancestor chuckled as he looked at the Dragon King's group with a playful smile. If you still think that Qin Feiyang is the same kid from back then, you will suffer greatly. Chapter 3854. What do you mean? Dragon King and the other 2 turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. My 3 friends have just arrived in the Sky Cloud realm and want to exchange pointers with you. Can't you give them this little face? Just arrived in the Sky Cloud realm? The 3 of them frowned. They also realized that the identity of Li Zhongxing and the other 2 didn't seem simple. With just them? Dragon King sneered. Looking down on us? Hearing this, the old poison's eyebrows suddenly creased with a trace of gloominess. Boom! The poison gas suppressed in his body suddenly erupted. Waves of terrifying poisonous gas surged towards the 3 of them like a tide. Retreat! Daifuka's expression changed. He hurriedly pulled Princess Huafeng and retreated like lightning. He had been following Qin Feiyang and the others in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, so he had seen the old poison's strength with his own eyes. Especially the poison in the old poison's body, which was enough to threaten a perfect sovereign divine weapon. However, although Princess Huafeng, Long Chan, Qi Xiaoyun, and the white-bearded old man hadn't seen the old poison's means with their own eyes, they had already realized the horror of the old poison when they saw the poison gas gushing out of his body. So, Long Chan and Qi Xiaoyun didn't hesitate and quickly retreated far away. Fortunately, they retreated in time. As soon as the poison gas appeared, the vegetation in the mountains below instantly withered and decayed. Even the bodies of the beasts were decaying at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang hurriedly looked at the old poison and reminded him, Don't hurt the creatures here. Huh. The old poison was taken aback. Before, he was in the Black Tortoise realm, so he didn't know that the beasts of hell were Qin Feiyang's friends. When he came back to his senses, he quickly waved his hand and the poison gas quickly gathered. He shouted, "Quickly retreat a little." How would the surrounding beasts dare to watch? They hurriedly fled in all directions. Li Zhongxing also looked at the old poison with vigilance. It's best if you don't release the poison gas, so as to avoid accidentally injuring us. Ha! The old poison laughed dryly. The poison gas quickly returned to his body. Then, he took a step forward and sent a palm strike towards the Dragon King. You're courting death. Murderous intent flashed in Dragon King's eyes as he punched out furiously. The fist and the palm collided. A terrifying wave of energy suddenly surged out. The Feather Emperor and the little rabbit looked at each other. The power of laws rolled out and condensed into a giant barrier. It enveloped an area of millions of miles, and immediately formed an independent battlefield. Inside the enchantment, Dragon King and the old poison each took a step back. Their strengths were actually equally matched. This made the Dragon King very surprised, but a trace of disdain instantly crept up on his face, and a surge of law power emerged. However, just as he was about to attack again, his expression suddenly changed. He discovered that his arm was actually rotting and flowing with pitch-black blood. Furthermore, he could clearly sense that an astonishing poison was surging into his body through his arm. Wherever this poison passed, the flesh and blood immediately began to rot. The old poison stared at the Dragon King and laughed. If you think that this seat no longer needs to be afraid of the threat of the poison gas just because this seat has restrained the poison gas, then you are gravely mistaken. He could freely retract and release the poison gas. Moreover, although he had restrained the poisonous gas at this moment, every inch of his skin, every strand of his hair, and every drop of his blood contained deadly poison. As long as one touched his body, they would be entangled by the poison. Highly toxic, the Dragon King muttered. As if thinking of something, he exclaimed, "Could it be that you are the Thousand Poisons Demon King?" Thousand Poisons Demon King? The old poison was slightly taken aback and shook his head. I don't dare to compare with the Thousand Poisons Demon King, but I believe that sooner or later I will surpass her. If you are not the Thousand Poisons Demon King, then why are you so arrogant? The Dragon King smiled contemptuously. A surge of law power emerged and rushed towards the poison in his body. However, the poison was disintegrated in an instant. Boom! The next moment, as he waved his hand, a huge eye appeared in the sky, exuding a destructive aura. The ultimate profound of the law of destruction, the heavenly eye of destruction. There is only one outcome for those who oppose me, and that is death. The Dragon King said coldly. The heavenly eye of destruction spewed out rays of light of destruction, crazily attacking the old poison. Die. Who are you looking down on? The old poison sneered. Accompanied by the emergence of a black force, a black hole immediately appeared in the sky. This black hole was incomparably huge, deep and dark. In the depths of the black hole there was a blood-red light. From afar it looked like the bloody mouth of a giant beast. The mountains, rivers, earth, and the void immediately began to collapse crazily, shattering and rushing towards the black hole. That scene seemed to be devouring the world. The law of devour, the ultimate profound. Looking at this scene, not only the Dragon King, Feng Ho the Qilin Master, even the Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit were shocked. This person had actually grasped the ultimate profundity of a supreme law? No wonder Qin Feiyang asked him to take action. Wait a minute. Since the old poison had mastered the ultimate profound of the law of devour, then the other man and woman, the Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit, could not help but look at Li Zhongxing and Xiao Shui, their eyes full of shock. You're shocked already? The old poison's face was full of disdain. With a wave of his hand, a storm swept out from the black hole, emitting an unparalleled aura, and blasted towards the rays of light of destruction. Boom! The world buzzed. This place instantly turned into a state of chaos. The barrier that the Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit set up together was trembling violently. In the end, the two ultimate profound were shattered at the same time. The Dragon King and the old poison both vomited a mouthful of blood. However, the old poison's eyes were even more ferocious, like a demon king. This was his true nature. Don't worry, take your time. Following the old poison monster's sinister laughter, another black power of law surged out from his body. The world instantly plunged into deep darkness. However, it was not the law of devour but the law of darkness. Boom! A terrifying aura burst out from his body. A sun appeared in the sky, but this sun presented a strange black color, like the scene of a heavenly dog devouring the sun. What? The ultimate profound of the law of darkness. The Feather Emperor and Little Prince were shocked. They did not expect that this person not only grasped the ultimate profound of the law of devour, but also the ultimate profound of the law of darkness. Two ultimate profound. This was already the pinnacle existence in the Sky Cloud realm. The Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Qilin Lord also had a look of disbelief. An expert like that would be able to dominate a region no matter where he went. However, why would he follow Qin Feiyang? Boom! The old poison smiled sinisterly, and the ultimate profound of the law of devour was activated once again. The deep black hole was like a space-time wormhole, exuding the power of destruction, making people shudder. Even the Dragon King will have to kneel before me. The old poison laughed wildly. The two ultimate profound moved with a loud rumble, attacking the Dragon King at the same time. Too arrogant. Open your eyes and see what true strength is. The Dragon King was furious. Kneel? In front of him, the old poison actually had the courage to say such arrogant words. He was simply courting death. At the same time that the ultimate profound of the law of destruction was activated, a force of death roared out, and the next moment the 18 layers of hell appeared. Two ultimate profound of the two ultimate laws. Qin Feiyang's pupil shrank. Sure enough, he is much stronger than before. The blood ancestor whispered. How strong was he back then? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The blood ancestor said, back then, he only grasped the ultimate profound of the law of destruction. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization and said indifferently, it seems that compared to the primal chaos divine king and the demon kings, they are still a lot worse. Of course, there is almost no inheritance of the ultimate profound in the Sky Cloud realm, so naturally, it can't be compared to the Skybell divine treasure. The blood ancestor said. Qin Feiyang looked at the Dragon King again. Don't underestimate the old poison just because he grasped the ultimate profound of the two ultimate laws. The old poison's strength was far more than that. Hey! Sure enough. The old poison grinned, and the ordinary-looking walking stick in his hand suddenly erupted with a monstrous power. It then left his hand, tore through the chaos and instantly attacked. Boom! It was accompanied by a loud noise that shook the sky. The walking stick, the two ultimate profound of the law of darkness and the law of devour, collided with the Dragon King's two ultimate laws at almost the same time. What? The Dragon King looked at the walking stick in horror. It was actually a sovereign weapon? Why was this? An expert who possessed a sovereign divine weapon and two ultimates was actually following Qin Feiyang? What kind of charm did this little beast have? Why were so many people willing to work for him? Boom! Just as the Dragon King was distracted, the walking stick and the two ultimate profound crushed the ultimate profound of the law of death and the law of destruction. However, the old poison's ultimate profound of the law of devour was also destroyed. The walking stick was also blasted away. However, the ultimate profound of the law of darkness was still there, and with a shocking divine power, it instantly blasted toward the Dragon King. A destructive shockwave erupted, drowning the Dragon King, and blood instantly dyed the sky red. Dragon King, Feng Ho and the Qilin Lord's expressions changed, and they immediately prepared to go forward to help. But at the same time, Li Zhongxing and Xiao Shui took a step forward and blocked the two of them. Feng Ho and the Qilin Lord stared at Li Zhongxing and Xiao Shui with a heavy expression. If the old poison was so strong, then the two of them were definitely not simple. Don't get the wrong target, we are your opponents. Xiao Shui's expression was cold, and her white dress was spotless. Her snow-like hair fluttered behind her, and she looked like an empress, incomparably domineering. As expected of my goddess. Looking at Xiao Shui's appearance, Li Zhongxing's face was full of admiration. I'm serious. Xiao Shui glared at him. Good. Li Zhongxing nodded repeatedly and looked at Feng Ho and the Qilin Lord. He grinned and said, It's really an honor to be able to fight with the strongest people in the sky cloud realm. As his voice fell, the law of time and the law of slaughter emerged. At the same time, the Nine Flames' divine staff also appeared, and the sovereign's divine power enveloped all directions. What? Feng Ho's expression changed. Boom! Xiao Shui also opened the law of destruction and the law of ice. The ice snow divine sword also appeared. The Qilin Lord's expression also became sluggish. These three people actually all mastered two ultimate profound, and they all have sovereign's weapons. Chapter 3855. At this moment, Princess Huafeng, Longchan, Qi Xiaoyun, the white-bearded old man, the masked Azura, and the Sea Lion Emperor finally knew how powerful the three were. Although they had already seen Li Zhongxing and the other two at the exit of the Heavenly Bell Divine Treasury, and knew that those who were valued by Qin Feiyang and kept by his side were definitely not ordinary people, they basically knew nothing about the specific situation of the three of them. After all, they had not been in the Primal Chaos Royal City all these years. Only Daifuku, Yunxiang, Azure Dragon and Qin Feiyang knew the strength of the three. So at this moment, looking at the terrifying strength displayed by Li Zhongxing and the other two, they were quite shocked. It was no exaggeration to say that, putting aside the sovereign divine weapon in terms of strength, except for the Dragon King and the Blood Ancestor, no one was their match. Even the mad scientist, the masked Azura, and Princess Huafeng, after fusing with the profound meanings left by Azure Dragon, Blood Ancestor and Daifuku, were only on par with the three. Of course, Li Feng and Yunxiang could not be ignored. After all, Li Feng had already mastered two profound meanings, the law of slaughter and the law of spacetime. As for Yunxiang, although he only mastered the law of spacetime, if he really went all out, he could still fight with the Dragon King and the others. Amazing! Feather Emperor took a deep breath. Even he could not help but admire Qin Feiyang for being able to subdue these three powerful existences. The appearance of Li Zhongxing and the other two was undoubtedly great news for the current situation of the Sky Cloud realm. Because with the strength of the three, they could compete with the experts of the Divine Kingdom. Due to the silence of Feng Ho and the other two, the scene fell into dead silence again. Swish! At this moment, a fiery red beast shadow appeared. It was the fire python. Brother Qin. The fire python was extremely excited. Brother Fire. Qin Feiyang was also pleasantly surprised. He quickly ran to the front of the fire python. The man and the beast looked at each other. Their eyes could not help but moisten. The fire python asked, "How have you been these years?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded and asked with a smile, "What about you?" The fire python said, "I'm pretty good too. Look at my strength, I've become much stronger." Qin Feiyang looked at the fire python's cultivation. It was at the perfect imperishable realm, just one step away from the half-step sovereign realm. He was not surprised by the change in the fire python's cultivation. This was because there was a time array on the second level of the temple. Furthermore, the temple also had nomological legacies. Although it was not the inheritance of an ultimate profound, it was already considered a great fortune for the fire python. However, from the looks of it, you've become even stronger. It seems that even with the time array, I won't be able to catch up to you. Fire python looked at Qin Feiyang for a while, then shook his head and sighed. There's no rush. Once I'm done here, I'll ask the patriarch to set up a time formation that lasts for 1 day in 1,000 years. Qin Feiyang smiled. Not 1,000 years in a day but 5,000 years in a day. The Blood Ancestor reminded him. Ah! Qin Feiyang turned to look at the Blood Ancestor. I've already grasped the ultimate profound of the law of time. How can it still be 1,000 years in a day? The Blood Ancestor rolled his eyes. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded. After grasping the ultimate profound of the law of time, the Blood Ancestor could already set up a time formation that lasted for 5,000 years in a day. Wait, didn't Li Zhongxing also grasp the law of time? Besides, he had also comprehended the ultimate profound. He could totally find him. Qin Feiyang slapped his head angrily. He had actually neglected this guy. What are you doing? The fire python looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Nothing. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and chuckled. I'll ask the patriarch to set up a time formation that lasts for 5,000 years in a day. I guarantee that your cultivation will improve by leaps and bounds. Really? The fire python was surprised. Would I lie to you? Qin Feiyang smiled. Thank you, brother. The fire python bared its teeth. Whether it was Qin Feiyang or the fire python, they were really happy to see an old friend. But suddenly, the fire python seemed to have thought of something. A cold light surged in its eyes as it asked, Brother Qin, where's that guy? That guy? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. Looking at the fire python's expression, he suddenly smiled and nodded. I've already killed him. Really? The fire python asked. Qin Feiyang nodded, pointed at Princess Huafeng and Long Chan, and said, if you don't believe me, you can ask them. They all saw it with their own eyes. What? The two of them were suspicious. Fire dragon, Qin Feiyang said. Fire dragon? Long Chan was stunned. Looking at the fire python, he looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, you want to kill the fire dragon because of it? Not exactly. The fire dragon and I have a grudge to begin with. Of course. Killing the fire dragon has always been Brother Fire's wish. Qin Feiyang looked up at the fire python and laughed. Brother Fire, your revenge has been avenged. You can rest assured from now on. That's right. I can rest assured. The fire python nodded. The hatred that had been suppressed in its heart for many years had finally dissipated. Qin Feiyang patted the fire python's huge tail and comforted it with a smile. Brother Fire, we'll catch up later. Right now, I'll help you get justice. After saying that, he looked at the Dragon King and the other two again. Help me get justice. The fire python was stunned. It looked at the Dragon King and the other two, then looked at Li Zhongxing and the other two, then turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked in a daze, Are you helping me vent my anger? Yes. If they dare to bully you, isn't that the same as bullying me? Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. The fire python was touched and shook its head. Brother Qin, seeing that they are in a sorry state now, let's just forget about it. In fact, they didn't hit very hard at that time. Lord Guardian, you're still pleading for them? At that time your body was almost shattered. The group of beasts behind immediately roared when they heard this. You guys told Brother Qin? The fire python looked at those beasts. Yes. We just can't stand their tyrannical behavior here. Those beasts stared at the Dragon King and the other two in disgust. The fire python smiled bitterly. Why were the beasts so gossipy? It looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Forget it. Brother Fire, you still don't understand? Some people just bully the weak and fear the strong. You don't have to worry about this. I will entertain them well. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and looked at Li Zhongxing and the other two, saying, Go ahead. I will take responsibility for whether you kill or cripple them. Okay. Xiao Shui nodded. Li Zhongxing and the old poison chuckled. Boom! The walking stick, the Ice Snow Divine Sword, and the Nine Flames Divine Staff awakened. At the same time, the three of them also activated their own ultimate meaning. Qin Feiyang also finally saw the true face of the ultimate meaning of the time law. The power of time surged around Li Zhongxing's body, and a fierce aura erupted. Accompanied by a loud clang, a 3-feet-long sword appeared. This sword was actually translucent and didn't have any brilliant divine light. It looked extremely simple, and if one didn't look carefully, they would ignore its existence. But when Li Zhongxing grabbed the divine sword, a monstrous sharpness suddenly erupted, as if it could annihilate the stars and cut through time and space. Sure enough, the time law wasn't all auxiliary. It also had the power to destroy heaven and earth. Feng Ho said angrily, Qin Feiyang, are you really going to force us? Qin Feiyang said indifferently, I'm not forcing you. As long as you apologize, I will immediately make them stop. Impossible. Feng Ho shook her head decisively and said, Also, don't let your minions show off. If you have the ability, come and fight us yourself. Me? Fight you personally? Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. Daifuka's face also changed drastically. Let Qin Feiyang personally fight? What was Feng Ho trying to do? Was she looking for death? One had to know. Qin Feiyang had not only integrated the ultimate meaning of the karma law, but he had also comprehended the ultimate meaning of the life and death law. He had seen the ultimate meaning of the life and death law with his own eyes. It was an existence that could compete with the ultimate meaning of the strongest law. Not to mention the dozens of sovereign divine weapons, just these two laws, coupled with Qin Feiyang's 3,000 incarnations, were enough to crush them. She actually wanted him to fight personally? Although Daifuku had always respected Feng Ho, he couldn't help but scold her for being stupid. Daifuku, what's the matter with you? Princess Huafeng noticed Daifuku's abnormality and couldn't help but look at Daifuku suspiciously. Daifuku secretly sighed. Your Highness, you'd better warn Feng Ho not to force Qin Feiyang to fight personally. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Could be said that the current Qin Feiyang, even without the help of the sovereign divine weapons, was already an invincible existence in the sky cloud realm. I also want to say it, but do you think Feng Ho will listen to me? Princess Huafeng shook her head. Sigh. Daifuku sighed. Haha. A loud laugh suddenly sounded. Everyone looked at Li Feng. Li Feng looked at Feng Ho and the other two and said disdainfully, Are you qualified to make Qin Dage personally fight? Presumptuous. The three of them were unable to restrain their anger. Now, even such a lowly junior dared to openly provoke them? It's not that I look down on you, but you don't even have the qualifications to make Qin Dage personally fight. Can kill you all. Li Feng smiled sinisterly. Courting death. The three of them couldn't bear it anymore and directly charged at Li Feng. Do you think we don't exist? Xiao Shui coldly snorted, waved her hand, and two ultimates immediately attacked the three of them. If you want to fight with Boss Qin, defeat us first. Li Zhongxing and the old poison also smiled disdainfully. For ultimates with monstrous power, blasted towards the three of them. At the same time, there were also three sovereign divine weapons, the Crutch, the Nine Flames divine staff, and the Ice Snow divine sword. Get lost. Dragon King and the other two roared. The power of laws surged, and one ultimates after another appeared out of nowhere. Feng Ho and the Qilin Lord also mastered two ultimates of the strongest laws. Feng Ho mastered the space-time law and the destruction law. The Qilin Lord mastered the death law and the time law. The six ultimates emitted a destructive aura. The barrier set up by Feather Emperor and the little rabbit couldn't withstand it. Seeing that the barrier was about to shatter, a divine aura suddenly emerged from Long Chen's body. It was the Heavenly God Sword. The Heavenly God Sword was a mid-level dominator divine weapon, so it was naturally easy for it to seal off the battle here. Although the Heavenly God Sword didn't appear and was still hidden in Long Chen's body, this terrifying divine aura still shocked Feather Emperor and the little rabbit. They looked at Long Chen, their eyes filled with shock. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.